A venue that dates back to the early 1900s, with first starting off as a hill climb venue. It has been compared to the Nordschleife Lagoon in Macau by many a prestige racing driver. It's Mount Panorama, it's Bathurst. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, it's AMX1 and we are back here for the ACC Championship. We've had a great couple of race weeks in the Assetto Corsa Competizione Championship and on the ACC game, and that trend should hopefully continue here this evening. It's myself, Evan, alongside me for this evening. It is Lorenzo. Lorenzo, we're in for an evening, I think.
Yeah, we're good for a good evening of good racing, and not in just this track. Of course, we're gonna get into arguably the most historic track in this race. Then we go to Road Atlanta, but nevertheless, it's two great tracks with two great car combinations that they fit hand in hand perfect.
Yes, we have GT3s at Mount Panorama for the ACC Championship this evening. Lois Reginaire will lead in the ACC Championship, but thrown that lead here this evening. Before we get started into the main swing of things, make sure you do check out all our social media channels, which you can see just below myself and Lorenzo on screen now. That is, of course, our Instagram, Twitter, or X as it's now known. I will keep making that mistake. Twitch, Discord, YouTube, our TikTok channel, and, of course, the AMXrace.com website. We very much look forward to bringing you through some GT3s and, of course, the track here this evening. Lorenzo will have a little bit on those in a couple of moments, but before we get started, we're going to run you through a little bit of housekeeping.
Yep.
So, of course, AMX Global League Season 4, we started on January 27th, will be ending soon enough, actually, on April 21st. The season prize pool, well, of course, that's $20,000 and some fabulous next-level racing gear. We have the most races in a year. We have an extreme variety of car and track combos, as well as game combos now as well. Tonight's game, of course, Assetto Corsa Competizione, and it is a bit of a different race format compared to our usual iRacing. It is a 20-minute qualifier followed by a 40-minute race with one mandatory pit stop. And trust me, that mandatory pit stop can spring some surprise loss in those 40 minutes. Here's, of course, the Remember, if you want to race in AMX in any tier this season, you have got to have your camera on. You can join via the link on the AMX Discord or the website. In terms of payout balances, over $100 are paid out each month, and of course we race on Tuesdays, Saturdays and Sundays. You can sign up to race anytime at amxrace.com. Of course, our schedule, which you are all so familiar with at this point, AMX1 starts at 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, as it does on Tuesdays, Saturdays and Sundays. If you're interested in our later races, it's AMX10, which comes up 7:20 p.m. GMT on Tuesdays, Saturdays and Sundays. And if you're in Europe, or if you're in mainland Europe, you add an hour for that. If you're back in the United States of America, you 6 or 7, give or take. But those are your timings for AMX1 and AMX10. Of course, we have a fabulous prize pool here across this season, and we have a fabulous prize pool for AMX1 in the ACC Championship. Again, a little bit different to the iRacing Championship. It is $25 for first place, and it is 20, 15, 7, 6, 5, 4, and then you get into the nitty-bitty figures near the bottom. $4 as well for the fastest lap. There is no points for, or no prize pool for qualifying, I should say. That is because, of course, we don't do a reverse grid on ACC. It is whoever takes pole starts in front, but it is a total per race of $100. Fascinating prize pool. Let's see who's picked up the most of that, however. Here it is, AMX1 top 12. It is Maurizio Lozano who is at the top of that, amassing over a huge amount of $100. He's raced in 8, he's won 2, and he's now narrowly ahead of Connor Heatley, who was up 2 spots last time you've seen the standings with $98.00. Connor Heatley, of course, an Australian native, where we're racing here this evening. Diogo Villarreal is in 3rd, ahead of Facundo Rago in 4th. And it is your ACC Championship leader, Lois Reginaire, who is in 5th, ahead of Gerardo Ramos, 6th position. Then it is Leitao in 7th, ahead of Matheus Machado in 8th, and then it is Fabian Nogier in 9th. Fabrizio Belziti in 10th position, ahead of Daniel Antonez in 11th is the fabulous Lucas Huela, rounding up the top 12 in 12th position. Here's, of course, your AMX ACC points standings. You can see it is very close in the mid-pack. These guys are all fighting for a GT Light Pro from Next Level Racing, a fabulous racing seat, if I do say so myself. But there's one man who is, that is, of course, the fabulous Lois Regner. It is Lois Regner, ahead of Fabian Nogier in 2nd. Then it is Imran Zuhali in 3rd, ahead of Maurizio Lozano in 4th. Lucas Huela in 5th with Kevin Leun in 6th position, and it is Santiago Barrios in 7th, ahead of Adriano Patino in 8th, and it is the fabulous Luxembourger Thibaut Prevost, who we saw excel on ACC's opener here in AMX and Spa Francorchamps. And then it is Leo Mora in 10th position. Leo was telling us earlier much enjoying his racing here at the ACC platform, and we look forward to see him jump up those standings even more. Of course, then I have a couple of promotions to run you through. We have the D3 promotion, where if you purchase entry fees 3 days before the race, you get 30% off, and that pertains to all AMX Season 4. And then, as I say it every week, if you don't like having to do everything over and over again, you can purchase a season ticket. AMXrace.com will have season tickets available for purchase class, so that's a total of 6. Will provide 50% off all races of that purchased class. So make sure you head over to amxrace.com if you want to check out our current promotions. If you want to enter this, you can still even enter tonight's races, or at least the iRacing one later, so make sure you do that. But it's back to the on-track action then. Before we do head live to Mount Panorama, let's find out about this fabulous circuit in Bathurst and our fabulous ACC GT3 car. It's over to Lorenzo.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's there to talk about the glorious roller coaster track that is Mount Panorama Circuit, or Bathurst, right? Located in the town, like I just said, in the Bathurst, New South Wales. This 6,213 kilometer was actually opened in 1938 here in good virtual Australia, being a throwback to the eras of public roads were used as a racetrack. So like I said, when this is not a racetrack on race day, this is public roads, because some households, believe it or not, are only accessible to restricted roads. Why is this road so front of the track? It is just 174 meters or 571 feet of pure elevation change. The big features are the two big straights, which are Mountain then Conrad. Mountain being the first straight and Conrad being the second straight, as the main overtaking opportunities of the track. But the main biggest feature is the Mountain, starting at Quarry Bend at turn number 2 and ending at Forest Elbow just after turn 19. By the way, one track trivia, Evan, and I was just looking this up. By the way, happy birthday, Mount Panorama. Today is actually the birthday of where it was first opened, March 17th, 1938. So, happy birthday to the Australian track.
That's an incredible statistic.
Yep. So, what about the cars, right? I said too much about the track. Let's go about the cars. You have pretty much about everything that you can want. Ferraris, Mercedes, McLaren is pretty much all you can ask. Basically, rear-wheel drive cars ranging from 500, 600 brake horsepower, weighing in the average of 1,200 kilos to 1,300 kilos, and it is a sequential six-gear gearbox with all the electronic gadgets, TC control, ABS control, you can name it. You have it all at your disposal. So, what's your car of choice? Would you say here, Evan? I'm just gonna be straightforward to the task over here. Honda NSX GT3 Evo is my favorite, and Donut.
I like it with the talent board. I'll be honest, I like the for Lamborghinis. I think the Ferrari's quite a nice car. I like it. The McLaren is nice as well, the 720S. It is a nice car, but we'll see what the quickest car in qualifying is here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will be heading straight to the track now for qualifying, of course, for tonight's ACC race. It is a fabulous Bathurst circuit, 6.213 kilometers, 3.861 miles, 23 corners, and a lap record just under the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, so about this lap record, if I remember correctly, the real lap record has been done by Rene Rast. I think it was in 2016. It was just about 1 minute and 59.7, if I recall correctly. That's the official record. Unofficially, the real record was actually set this year. For those who don't know, I'm trying to remember who actually did this in a Mercedes GT3 Evo, AMG GT3 Evo. I just can't remember who's the driver. I'm actually looking that up. But it is basically unrestricted. Thinking about GT3 with DRS, no plates, no plate restriction, everything that you can ever want inside a race car, you can have it. So that's why it is a real interesting track. And then you have all this climbing up and down as it just goes down Conrad Straight. Now basically gonna hit about 270, 280 kilometers, depending if you are in here, Evan. Go around the chase right here and then break close to the 100-meter board, left hand side kink. You can kind of clip the curb a little bit and come around the outside for the final corner, which is Murray's corner, where you'd have that really good lap.
Yes, in towards the final corner. This is an important corner, Murray's corner, to start your, or to end and start your lap, I should say, here at Mount Panorama. Then in towards the left-hander for turn number 1. Then it's down this long straight, the mountain straight, which is and it was sort of an uphill section, does have a slight incline. In towards turn number 2 of Quarry, the right-hander. This is Laudapida. We are on board with, of course, in towards the second corner. Very interesting grid here this evening. We look forward to running you through it. This is Thomas Laudapida in the heading towards the left-hander. In terms of qualifying so far, top of the order, only one man to set a lap. That is Santiago Barrios, who has gone into the 2-minute 2-second threshold. But this really is just a fantastic track to just sit back and watch, Lorenzo.
Absolutely. If there's one thing I can say about Mount Panorama, is it is something that is kind of on the similar page that people say about Nordschleife, right? Like you said, a little bit of a wiggle coming into Skyline right here, even, and somehow, some way, lap got saved right there from, I think, Thomas Laudapida. But what a commitment that you have to take around the mountain. You have to respect the mountain, just like we say on Nürburgring, respect the forest. Right, the forest will bite you back. Over here, the same thing. Respect the mountain and commit to the mountain. You know, if you have no fear of the mountain, you're gonna get that lap time that pretty much every people want to have.
Yes, you've got to thread the needle perfectly, as we see Lois Regnier top of the timing order. Thomas Laudapida with a monster middle sector looking to topple that one. It is very much McLaren's evening. Bruce will be very thankful that his neighbouring country is featuring a lot of his automobiles. It is a McLaren top 5 as Thomas Laudapida stays in 4th. This is Simone Seminara, who's currently top of the order in the number 12 720S. You can see a beautiful red, orange and purple. That was okay. There's some issues with that car, because that's not how you take a corner. There's maybe some connection issues for Simone, but part of the Gladius Competitions esports team. You can see here on the picture, laser focused, ready to tackle the task, and that is Bathurst.
Yeah, and And if there's one thing that I think this mountain is, like I said, it's infamous. I think that, and having the McLaren makes it a little bit easy as is having the traction. Of course, McLaren, I would say one of the fastest cars in terms of being nimble, especially on the transition of the corners and keeping that speed around in the mountain, and that's why it's very interesting for you to use that car. The other ones are like give you a little bit more balance. Let's just say if you pick the BMW, you're probably gonna have a little bit more weight towards the front because it is a front engine car. So you're gonna be probably more grounded on the floor, but your rotation of the car is gonna have to be tweaked for you to find that perfect balance. Now we have Léo Moura, the Brazilian Canadian of AMX Racing team with the Ferrari 296 GT3, another mid-rear engine car. And it just goes to prove that thing of, different cars, different specs, and different technicalities about this car to try to make the perfect lap around the track. Like I said, I would argue, in my opinion, it's probably top 3 hardest lap for you to perfectly nail around a track like this.
Yeah, it is incredibly difficult to be quick at Bathurst. But this is Leo Mora, or it was Leo Mora who you're looking at. Leo is enjoying his racing so much he actually launched his own merchandise line about racing, so we wish Leo the best of luck with that. This is Kevin Garcia. You might remember Kevin from 2 weeks ago. He was commentating alongside me. Well, he's got into a sim for now, and he's decided he wants to go in Lorenzo's favourite machine, the Honda. He wants to try and the first. So wish Kevin best luck. No by supporting our fellow commentators, absolutely will be. But we'll try our best not to show it, but we wish Kevin the best of luck. He's currently bottom of the does not have a representative lap time in. Going to try and set one now. No, he won't. He'll go off turn number 1. That was just to get out of the way of a bit of lap traffic behind. That was the Argentinian of Juan Berriaro, who is currently in 7th place in the number 1 Porsche, the only Porsche here on the sequence grid. We've got 5 minutes left in qualifying. There is 0.028 separating Semi-Nara Lois Reginaire at the top of the order.
Yeah, so we're still trying to look to see if anybody's going to hit the strides around the mountain. Also, highly dependent on the weather itself. So I've seen laps under 2 minutes. I think when the GT Road Challenge actually came around in the track, the official esports series of the GT Road Challenge, right? I think they were doing 158s around this track, which is, for me, don't get me wrong, it is a little bit faster than real life. And like I said, Renee Rasting had the real record, not the unofficial record that was set up by the Mercedes team in the AMG car by Jules Gnon earlier this year. But it's still a very cool track for you to go around by. But I like the fact that Kevin Garcia is with the Honda. Honda actually is a really good car for this track. It's not very acceptable on the curbs, especially those harder curbs that you probably would have like Skyline, and maybe the transition to McPhillamy from Solman to Reed Park to Solman and the McPhillamy Park. But nevertheless, it is a car that whenever you find the right balance, which is the hardest thing, you have a lot of speed you can take advantage of.
Yeah, we're looking at Lloyd's racing on his hot lap. He's headed down through McPhillamy Park and in towards Skyline of turn number 11. You can see him taking a very large wide line in towards the S's. You have the first chicane of 11 and 12, then 13, 14, 15, 16, heading down towards the Dipper and Forest's Elbow of turn number 18 and 19. Two very, very difficult corners. Flick it in through the right-hander, you can see, and get the good exit out of Forest's Elbow to Conrad Straight. This will probably Lois Regineur's final bite of the cherry here, unless he can have one more. But putting 2 very quick push laps together in a G3 around a circuit such like this is oh so difficult. It's not an easy feat to do. You usually do 1 push lap and then just rest yourself almost, but In towards the final chicane, here comes Lois Regner, and then he's got one more corner. So it's a very different entry here at Bathurst. Speak more about pit entries in the main race. Here comes Regner turning into the left-hander. Got to be able to topple Seminar off the order. Here he comes up at that finish line. No, he cannot. He won't go quick. There's got to be Seminara's pole position unless Lois Regner can find 0.3 of a second. But Seminara is genuinely not far off record here in the GT3.
No, he's not far off. I think he even improved this time last time by. I think the gap was much closer than what it was. I think it was 62 hundredths of a second to separate Seminara to the Regnier. So now Seminara just doing a 2-minute 197, nearly a 2-minute 0.2 seconds. So it's a very interesting one. Now eyes all shifted to Lucas Verle, one half of the Verle brothers, him and Leandro being that duo. Leandro not being present here today. Maybe might be running the GTPs later. 2 corners to go. Now 1 more corner to go for the Brazilian. He needs just to find the entry. I think he's not gunning for the top time over here, just setting up for his fast lap here, Evan. And now let's see how the Brazilian move there.
Yeah, here comes Lucas Verla in towards turn number 1. A very quick driver who usually always competes near the top of the order here in AMX ACC. Of course, our first season, we see these guys, it's still learning pretty much. But here comes Lucas Verla down towards quarry of turn number 2, and rotating in. You don't want to touch that curve too much, that might over-rotate your car, but you do want to hit it on the outside to maximise your exit. That's up towards turn number 3. This is the cutting, as it's known as. You getting close to walls here. This is the section of the track that some drivers say it's like a roller coaster version of Macau, or as Alexander Braymat said, it's a mix of the Nordschleife Road Atlanta, which of course we're going to later. And Laguna said Werner is fiddled perfectly here. He's need to find over 0.7 of a second, so it's probably going to be the best lap of his life here around Mount Panorama. But if anyone can do it, you trust at least one of the Vuela brothers to be able to do so. Then it's in towards the tricky S's section. Every apex has to be nailed. Every wall has to be put as closely to the wall of Forest's elbow. Not too bad a lap here for Lucas Verla. We check it out now. This will be the last attempt for Lois Regner, Lucas Verla, Peter, Barrios, and everyone else is into the pit lane. So big pressure on Lucas Verla here.
Yeah, big pressure coming down Conrad. And now into the chase is going to be the braking zone for Lucas, and see if he's going to be able to do it as qualifying is over. So they have about 30 seconds of total time aggregated. Get that lap done, and I don't know if we're probably going to look later to see if Lucas is going to improve, but it doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't look like he was improving. Usually if they cut the cameras, it means the driver was not going quick enough. And yeah, Lucas Verla actually did improve. He jumped to 2nd right at the very end, so that lap was good enough. But Lucas Verla ahead of the championship leader. It was not quite pole position for Lucas Verla. He will still be behind Simon Seminara, but it is a front row of the grid for the Brazilian, and he managed to go only a 10.5 off position. That's a job from Lucas Verla. That was a really good lap around this Mount Panorama circuit. But we are looking at the hills of New South Wales here in Australia. This is Mount Panorama itself, the mountain that this fabulous circuit is located on, home to the Bathurst 1000 and the Australian Grand Prix, not the Formula 1 one, but one even existed. But here is your qualifying order. It is 9 drivers here this evening. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here at Bathurst. It is Simon Seminara who's on pole position in that number 12 McLaren with a 2-minute and 1 second lap. Then it is Lucas Verla in 2nd ahead of Lois Regner in 3rd. Then it is Laudapida in 4th ahead of Santiago Barrios in 5th position. Then it's Lucas Mora, or Leo Mora I should say, apologies, in 6th. Then it is Barriero, and it is Diogo Vial and Garcia who round out the order. Good day to be a McLaren driver, Lorenzo.
Yeah, absolutely. McLaren domination. I know somewhere around Sebring, one Zach Brown is going to be very appreciative of this, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So Zach Brown usually is delighted even if there's McLaren's in the race. So delighted if they manage to take home a result like that. McLaren, of course, won their first on-track race in Motorsport yesterday around the Sao Paulo Formula E Prix, I believe. It was Sam Bird.
Yep.
A fabulous last lap overtake to take the win. Something tells me it's going to be a McLaren winner here this evening as well.
Bart, any, what can we call early commentators curse or something like that? If we're probably going to say all McLarens are here fated to death, but other than that, it's just going to be an interesting race for us to go to, as Seminara is going to launch us off in a little bit, and then we're going to get to 20 minutes of racing.
Yes, we are going to have a very short start. It's because, of course, it is the 2-minute lap time around here, so we're not going to do the full. Otherwise, me and Paul Lorenzo on podcast produce point, but we will have Simone Seminara and Luca first and second, heading in towards turn number 1 at Held Corner. Make sure to pop a subscription on the AMX YouTube channel, or give us a follow on Twitch if you're enjoying the ACC. Man in third is the man top of the standings, but a win at Bathurst is nothing to be too disappointed about. So that is the goal here for Simone Seminara and Lucas Verla. They round through the final corner now. It is an all McLaren front row, an all McLaren row, and then you have the Ferraris and the Porsches put into play. But Simone Seminara is looking to get his ACC career off to the best possible start as we go racing here in Mount Panorama. Start from Seminara, but they are side by side in through the first corner. Lucas Verla looking to get around the outside. You can see Lucas Verla here on the inside line for turn number 2. Seminara, a bit of a nudge between the two. That's Lucas Verla sent onto the grass, heading down towards the second corner. It's a brilliant run from Seminara. Look at break stream in towards turn number 2, but I wonder will the stewards have something to say. I've had a bit of an aggressive weave there as Lois Regner in the all-black McLaren looking to get around the outside of Lucas Verla here. They're going to be side by side heading in towards turn number 3 of the cutting, and it looks like it will be, yes, Lois Regner, he's got ahead.
Yeah, having a little bit of the inside coming into Corey's bend, I think, was the opportunity that Lois Regner wanted to find and make that overtake for it. But Verla just decided, I'm gonna play, the conservative type over here. I'm not gonna try to go and win in the first lap. We know that if you don't, you cannot win the race within the first lap. You can pretty much lose the race within the first lap. So you gotta think of it as long commitment, especially in a track that demands tires. So it's easy for you to overshot those rallies, P0s around the track like this. So that's why tire management is going to be important for all these drivers while they do their stints.
Yeah, you got to manage the tires, got to manage the brakes, got to manage the fuel, and you got to make sure your pit stop is okay. We've seen penalties decide these races. Many weeks we saw it decide the race at Imola. We saw big drama with the penalties at Suzuka, as well as Lucas Verla goes bumping and cutting some grass. He's going to be under huge pressure from Thomas Laudapita, or actually Laudapita is under pressure from Santiago Barrios. So there's been a little bit of a swap and change there, as I believe that is Santiago Barrios who has just got ahead of Thomas Laudapita here on the opening lap. The opening lap, we're already 2 minutes 10 seconds down. Has a great start for Simone Seminara to lead from the front here, 1.7. The gap, excellent job so far.
Yeah, so far you have like an SART from what it looks like in 456. Villarreal is about 4 seconds back from Laudapita, but it's very interesting for the cars to be running nearly the same color. So let's just see if Barrios have the pace to try to reach the Brazilian Lucas Verla in a little bit as they go around the cutting. Sorry, yeah, it is the cutting. My apologies. But now the fun starts. All the climb of the mountain is on for you to do.
Yep, this is the difficult bit of the track. This is the mountain section, and this is the bit where you've got to nail, because you can very easily hit a wall here. It's very different to other circuits that we may have had this season. It's not like Imola where the walls are far away. Suzuka as well, although albeit it's a difficult circuit. It's a difficult circuit with a few runoffs, so you can kind of be excused if something goes wrong. Here in the mountain section, Bathurst, nope, overstep the mark once, and then you'll have a bit of sponsorship board attached to your car. But you can see this is Santiago Barrios, who is under big pressure. This is an incident involving Barriero and Leon Mora in your picture-in-picture. Let's see what happened here. This is down towards the final corner of Murray's, in towards turn number 23. Oh, big lunge down the inside, bumping across, and yeah, that's not a good start to your race.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding that braking spot over here in the cutting, not around Chase, is one of the hardest things for you to do because you're coming at top speed. It is a downhill-esque corner. The car is slightly light over here, Evan, so you need to find the right strides for you to get that braking right, get inside it. You're not going to see Barrios give you a lot of P. So his teammate in the SART goes into fourth, and probably going to be like that draft train. Laura Pete is going to provide the draft train for Barrios, and Barrios just follows the best way he can, and both try to work in tandem to reach Verle. But so far the gap is just way too big, around 3.5 seconds that both Argentinians have to do to catch up to the Brazilian.
Yeah, it's not something that we usually see an awful lot in AMX because of the nature of the races. They're usually so fast-paced, there's no time for teamwork. As you can see, both drivers struggling off the corners, but Laudapita and Barrios will be working together now. This is a very early pit stop from Leo Mora. We saw Lucas Verle pit in the opening couple of minutes in the opener in Spa-Francorchamps, and that worked absolutely excellently. Leo Mora obviously had a poor opening couple of laps, dropped down the order, then was involved in that incident with Barriero. So let's see what he can do. If he can get out of the pits with no penalties, he'll still have a chance in this race because penalties will emerge for others. This is Santiago Barrios. You're looking at running a circle-rimmed wheel. That is a Logitech, I believe. He's running. Usually you see a lot of, I suppose, open-wheeler steering wheels that these drivers use. I can't say much, I use one myself, but Barrios going for the alternative, which is similar to what some of these GT cars might have had in the past, but McLaren very much do love their own McLaren wheel on their car. But enough talk about steering wheels, more talking about the lead McLaren, because Seminara is running away here. Lorenzo, already a 2-second lead, very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive it is now as Barrios give it a little bit of a shutout. To everybody watching the broadcast, showing that Riz. Talking about Riz, but what the job that Seminara is actually doing. I gotta give him props, and him breaking away the best way he can against Renier. Renier actually doing a really good job trying to retain much of the gap that Seminara has kind of like created around the track. So it is pretty much the way that it is. But for me, the most dangerous thing is Renier cannot sleep because Verle is going up and down in the mountain of time gaps on Renier. So it can be a question of where and when does the Brazilian reach the French or a potential overtake in a battle around the track.
Yeah, as it is Seminara who leads from Lois Vigenère, who leads from Lucas Weller. Wow, Lucas Weller getting very close to the wall. As you can see, the Brazilian racer just giving it everything. Lucas Weller always pushing to the maximum in these races, even if it was the last lap and he's nothing to play for. You go on board with Lucas Weller and it's like he's missed the most titanic battle of all time. We're almost 10 minutes into the ACC race here at Bathurst. Remember, of course, folks, we've got more action coming up for you later back on iRacing. That's GTP's at Michelin Road, Atlanta. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss the rest of the race here, as really this isn't over until the last couple of laps when all the pit stops are done.
Yeah. I'm wondering who's actually going to try to take the risk over here in the front for a potential early pit stop. To try to go for a potential undercut or something like that. Undercut sometimes can work over here, but in entrance races, this is the funny stuff. the strategy over here is usually for long races, like we see with 12 hours of Bathurst every year, is overcutting. So you have to try to stay in the track as much as you can, especially with the traffic and everything, where it's going to be you're making a break around the track like this. Meanwhile, Juan Pajero got a stop and go of 30 seconds. That is usually given out by the game. Wondering what is the reason for Barrero to get a stop and go this early on.
Yeah, it's a very harsh penalty. Very disappointing as well for him. I can't imagine he'll be the only one to pick up a penalty like that here this evening, but still disappointing. Nonetheless, we're on board with Santiago Barrios heading in towards turn number 3 of the cutting. This is Juan into the pit lane to serve that penalty. Bathurst here, of course, the first race meeting was actually for motorcycles, so a bit of a fun fact. However, I'd like to point to you, can you imagine how scary that hill is on a motorbike?
I can figure a way or two how scary this thing is around a track like this. As we look into Kevin Garcia, and that car doesn't look straightable, and the front doesn't look like it is straight at all. Nope. One piece isn't an
Kevin Garcia's hit a wall somewhere.
No, absolutely. The question is which of the wall.
As Lois Rijner, we see heading in towards the chicane. Question from the chat there asking, is it better to pit early? I would probably say no, because that's what we've seen in previous weeks. We've seen a lot of our drivers stay out a long time, and that's been beneficial. Traditionally in motorsport, the undercut is the preferred strategy. And the thing about these ACC races is these tyres can almost do the full race. They can almost do the full 40 minutes. And so the drivers don't really have to change the tyres, I suppose, or that's not really the top of their mind. But traditionally we've seen the top guys go as long as possible in this race to build out a gap behind and basically not run into anyone, because if you pit early you're going to be at the back. If you're at the front, you are. If you're at the front and you build a gap behind, you might come out in second or third, which is a little bit better. So that's what these guys try to do. They try to build a gap, then pit into some nice clean air, and they don't really have to worry about it. I believe it will be changing if we do ACC again next season, though, because the tyres, I think they need a little bit more tyre wear to make tyre strategy a little bit more interesting. But that is, of course, for people way smarter than me to decide on. But yeah, traditionally we see these guys go for later pit stops, but the earlier pit stop can sometimes work, like it did in Spa-Francorchamps. We've actually had someone bow out of the race, that is Leo Mora. So we're down to 8 runners here, and Kevin Garcia as well is still in the pit lane, so he's getting big repairs on his Honda.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate right there for Kevin Garcia, but it is like It is the thing, like I said before, respect the mountain. Sometimes that mountain's going to bite you whenever it hurts the most. And over here is pretty much like glory or wall, or 0 to hero or hero to 0, right? As you have to, be safe around the mountain, but at the same time you have to be fast around the mountain. And touching from your end, you talked about maybe standing as much as you can around a track like this. For me, this track is heavily dependent on race scenarios, right? Because let's just say in a field that, let's just say, you have more cars, drivers following closely one another, there is a good chance, like I said before, an undercut is very powerful, because you're not going to find yourself within traffic most of the time. You can, you do your pit stop, you can have lots of free track. It depends on where you're going to be placed around the track, obviously. But because of that, it takes the pressure of, looking over your shoulder, looking ahead of you, for potential race scenario, and just allows you to just focus around the track and getting those what we call quality times, right? The crunch laps. But I will not see the error, like you said, of sticking as long as you can, because these tires can easily be double stinted if you take care of them very well as well.
Yeah, that's a phrase we usually see associated with endurance racing: double stinting, triple stinting. If you're watching at home and you don't really know what double stinting or triple stinting is, it's basically just where you pit and come back out on the same set of tires. If you're a Formula 1 fan, that never happens because they only pit for tires. If you're an IndyCar fan, that rarely happens because they pit for tires and fuel. But in endurance racing, they most of the time just pit for fuel or driver swap. So usually in Le Mans, drivers will triple stint. That means they'll come out, they'll pit again, not change the tires, get fuel, go out again, pit again, not change the tires, get fuel, go out again, and then the third pit stop, they'll change the tires and the fuel. And sometimes the driver, depending on what happens there. Barriero has picked up another stop-go. That's not ideal, really, for the Porsche driver. That's another 30 seconds, and another question from the chat saying for first place, it'll be $25 if you win this race. If you win it with a fastest lap, you'll pick up an additional $25 plus $4, $29 for the winner here. But Seminara is having to work hard for it, because we're on board with Lois Visionaire here. He is still pushing flat to the mat to try and keep with the race leader. So Seminara is he's not coasting around here, I can tell you that for sure. He is pushing to make sure he still leads this race with a comfortable gap.
Absolutely, and like I said before, I think Rene is doing a really good job of retaining the gap that Seminara is building, and it would normally would expect, okay, the gap is going to be quite huge because you're committing to the track and things like that. Like, for example, Rene just only led Seminara, I think, in the past 2 to 3 laps, even 4, built up a gap of only 7/10 of a second, whereas now the gap second to third is now over 2 seconds in the previous 2-3 seconds in the previous same amount of laps. There is a question coming from our YouTube chat saying if the McLarens are fastest cars. Maybe in this build. I know that we're due to have a new build in Nürburgring, but I would say in the current build, they are one of the fastest straight line speed and stability around the corners. Then I would agree 100%. But there are cars I would say can ease up in the paces. Now they're going to overlap Cameron Garcia on the inside as our fellow commentator just gives them space around in the track. If you find the right balance, I would say the Ferrari can go and help out as well. I think Barrero is going to come do his service and also the stop and go as well. But there are other cars, I would say, maybe thinking off the top of my head, Porsche can do well over here, and the Mercedes really good around here over here, despite being a front engine car that wastes a little bit more rubber in the front.
Yeah, that is Barriero into the pits. One of the driver who has had a few woes. Another one was Leo Mora, who said, I'm out, too much damage. Good luck. Disappointing for Leo Mora in the Ferrari. He, of course, was involved in an incident at Murray's Corner down in turn 23. Tips the Bathurst 1000, the famous race around here. It's Peter Brock with the most wins. He won 9 times from 1972 to 1987. The Bathurst 1000 was originally a 500 miles race, but it was changed to 100 kilometers in 1973. Since 1999, the race has become a round of the V8 Supercars calendar, of course. So if you're a fan of V8 Supercars, you'll have seen drivers like Shane Van Gisbergen, Scott McLaughlin racing in that championship. And now here in AMX, you see the fabulous Simone Seminara just making it look easy at the front. But it is Simone Seminara who leads from Lois Visionaire, then it is Lucas Vela, and of Thomas Laudapita, then it is Santiago Barrios, then it is Diogo Villarreal, then it is Joan Barriero and Kevin Garcia. Another question coming in from Driver Cat: is buying cars on ACC the same as on iRacing? No, you don't have to buy cars on ACC, to my knowledge. as we see in the picture-in-picture, Kevin Garcia going off the track. But I don't play ACC. I plan on starting, but I don't think you have to buy them. Lorenzo, you can confirm that for me.
No, you can. You don't have to buy it. Let's just say the only thing you might need to have, let's just say, if you go to Bathurst, for example, Bathurst is part of the IGTC DLC, right? So you need to buy the International GT Challenge DLC for you to partake around a track like this. But cars itself, they come usually often with the bundles, like with the, I think Huracan was, or the Huracan Evo 2 was part of them, one of these changes within DLC. So you might have, you don't need a DLC for specifically for that, but if you want to drive the car, you have to have the DLC. Unless like there's a car like, for example, the GT2s, you have to have the GT2 DLC. The same thing for the GT4 DLC. Then you might have the thing needed, as Garcia is going to have a little bit of an issue.
Oh.
It's going to hit the wall around cutting, and this is going to go more into the pain side of surviving the mountain.
Yeah, almost was a fantastic showreel / audition for the Drift Masters World Games from Kevin Garcia. Unfortunately, couldn't quite catch it the wall. But basically, to answer the question I think you're asking, yes, ACC is more cost-friendly than iRacing. The most cost-friendly one is probably like not really going to get a cost-friendly sim as good as iRacing. I think ACC and iRacing would be the top two. All Factor has its own issues that we're not going to get into because we'll probably be sued by Motorsport Games. But you can see here on ACC, we have just got under the 20-minute mark, so we have less than half the race to go. And honestly, it's actually quite impressive how close Seminara, Lois Rage now.
And I think Rene having good work took down the gap to Seminara right there in the past few laps. Was 2.7 in the last time by here, Evan, and now the gap widens down to 2.4. The thing is that is growing is his gap to Lucas Verle, the Brazilian, not being able to catch at all. Alois Renier is doing around the track for SDL Esports, so what a job that he's doing. Now the difference is actually near and close to the visual gap. You can even see right in front of you Evan 7 hours right there looking all racy going around McPhilly Park.
Yeah, this is the fastest lap, does Simone Seminara, but Lois Regnier is still pushing a little bit wide through there. It goes Lois Regnier, catches it nicely, would have lost a little bit of time. Another one of the chat questions, we're enjoying these folks. Omega Racing asking, guys, will you bring GT4 or GT2 races and maybe multi-class to AMX? I can't answer that because the organisers don't discuss their plans with us. But what I would absolutely love, and I think it would be really cool if we could do it, was a big AMX endurance race to sort of round off the season, maybe, whether it be on iRacing or ACC. I think we could do a big endurance race, a big shebang. AMX, everything they do is usually done successful. So I'm going to plant this seed. I'm going to plant the idea. But I think for next season, if ACC is deemed successful, which I think it has been, I think it's been quite successful. We'd like a few more drivers for next season. I think that is safe to say. But the races have been decent. The format has worked well. It will be adjusted, of course, but it has worked well. Yeah, I'd like to think they'll expand on the ACC Championship maybe a little bit, because it has become a staple of this season. Sundays at 5:50, you're going to get some good ACC action. And yeah, me and Lorenzo have done 2 races on it now together. I've been here for all but one, I think. It's been exciting. What isn't exciting, if your name is Lois Regnier, is the fact Simone Seminara has decided to put the bit between his teeth, and he's decided to start pushing again. He's extended that gap to over 3 seconds for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. As now Seminara is going to find himself in a little bit of trouble, but the gap widens up to 3 seconds. To be very honest, I would love to see GT4 racing. I think having a little bit of GT4 is probably I would say not gonna say that it would make the race interesting, but it would bring more of my favorite cars, right? It would bring the Mustang and the Camaro GT4. I still think it is criminally underrated. The fact that the Camaros GT3s don't happen to exist in racing in general. Let me just have it here in air quote. They exist, but they are not made by Chevrolet. They were made by not Zack Speed. I need to find the factory that used to do the Mercedes, the Chevrolets back in a Dodge, GT Masters back in the old days. They used to do the Camaros as well, but the Mustang is just a beautiful car for you not just to hear but drive around the track.
If you're wondering where I'm reading the stream chat from, sorry folks, I'm reading from the YouTube one. We do live stream on both YouTube and Twitch, so you can check out both there. I'm actually going to follow the Twitch page now because I haven't done it before. Please don't fire me. But you can access it from both. So make sure you go reach out to us on all our social channels. We have TikTok and Instagram on the go as well. It was a beautiful cinema. Oh, that's a car round. That's Kevin Garcia who's gone round in his Honda. Or is it? No, sorry, that's Juan Berriaro who's gone round. The Argentine in the Porsche. He has gone just ahead of the S's, and Santiago Barrios and Diogo Villarreal had to take very quick reactionary measures to avoid substantial damage. Not a great race this, unfortunately, from the Argentine, and that's a big mistake he's after making.
Yeah, unfortunate right there. But then again, it's the tricky portion of McPhillamy Park. And McPhillamy Park is a high commitment corner. It is I would say, is a high speed corner. Sometimes the cars go around 220 kilometers to get into the curbing on the inside, and they use the curbing as an aid to rotate the car more into the internal portion of the track, because if you catch that curve around the outside and the car is not properly set up to handle the curve around the outside, one thing is for sure, it's death. You're not going to be of course, thrown over the mountain like some people have those crazy dreams. I think you probably heard about those crazy dreams, Evan. But it is just a very tricky thing. Let's just see what happened to Barreiro, as that was from the perspective of Barrios and Lara Pide. That was probably Lara Pide's perspective when we first caught Barreiro on the outside, and now Villarreal with some issues with his McLaren as well.
Yeah, as we have a couple of drivers into the pit lane now, you can see Diogo Villarreal just sitting there and waiting. I love Diogo's camera because you can see what he sees on his screen. You can see the driver's perspective as well from the team. SRAT man, Diogo Villarreal there. Just adjusting something slightly, making sure he's nice and comfy. His sim rig. We've 13 minutes to go. Would you believe we've only done 13 laps here around Bathurst? That's just how long this circuit really is. As you can see, Simone Seminara almost making it look easy at the front, but he isn't. You can see how truly confident he is, making sure he extracts every ounce of lap time to keep ahead of Lois Regnier. And the big thing for these guys is make sure you get in and out of the pits without any impediments, without any issues. You might be able to win yourself this race, because that's been make or break in previous weeks. I know I like to mention it a lot, but it is a big talking point in these ACC races. Do not pick up a pit lane penalty and you're in with a good chance of a good prize pool.
Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those races that, like I said, survive the mountain. And you can actually get really well rewarded for it. So the challenge is surviving the mountain, of course.
Yeah, that's the main challenge. These few corners are easy compared to the mountain section. But 12 minutes to go, we should start to see the top three coming into the pit lane as Thomas Laudapida makes his his pit stop. Santiago Barrios as well in two of the many McLarens on show here this evening. We of course lost Leo Mora due to substantial damage earlier on in the race. He unfortunately had to bow out, but Simone Seminara, he really is making it look easy. Like it isn't easy, but he's making it look it. This is impressive.
Yeah, it's, I think the best definition, if you want to call it that, is a ball dance around the mountain, right? You have to dance through the mountain. You gotta be, you know, knowing all the steps, bit by bit, going around the climb and descent off the mountain itself. That's why it's compelling to see a races like this. You know, there are, if you think about it, Evan, how many tracks in the world nowadays have this unique layout of, you know, the mixture of permanent track and then with public roads and the 0 to hero or hero to zero commitment. And let's not talk about the Jeddah circuit, because Jeddah is not a circuit that tickles this box. It has the walls are close to one another, or Baku as well, but they don't have, I think, this old style feel that Mount Panorama has.
Yeah, and another thing is that they don't have a 174 meter elevation change, which is 571 feet, literally up a mountain. They don't have that either. You can see the pure incline there, as the chat are currently asking whether Need for Speed is a sim. I wonder, can we do AMX Cars 2 Mater Nation? That would be quite cool. But under 10 minutes to go here in AMX 1 ACC. Hope you're enjoying the action, folks. We've got plenty more coming up this evening on 7:20 GMT, or even a little bit after that. Neil Lorenzo will be back for iRacing. It is the GTP cars, who of course you might have saw yesterday on the 12 Hours of Sebring. They're from the IMSA World Series around Michelin Road, Atlanta, which is it's a fabulous circuit. It's up and down as well. Clearly, whoever picked this evening's two tracks likes a little bit of elevation change, but you can see here Lois Regner. He's slowly losing touch to the race leader, I think, Lorenzo. I think he's just maybe losing his pace.
Yeah, I think that the effort that he has done prior to being nearly on the visual gap of Simone Seminara has waned away. That was a good effort for the Frenchman, but now I think he just has to think with his brain. Yeah, but anyway, it's still a long gap for you to reach within roughly 3-4 more laps of racing. Therefore, just remain in the track. You got your second place secured. Then,
as we're looking at the beautiful scenery here around the track. Great comment from Leo Mora, who of course was in this race at one point. He's just reminding us that this is actually a street circuit, so you can drive on these roads during non-racing events, which is just fabulous to know. This also operated as the venue for the 2023 World Athletics Cross Country Championship. So it was kind of a paddock area for that, and the drivers ran up the hill. Not sure if anyone in the chat has ever ran cross country. I did it once, we'll never do it again. It's quite difficult. I can't imagine doing it around a mountain as steep as this, but there's over 40 private residents as well located around the circuit. So if you want to live in Bathurst, email the New South Wales government. I suppose you might get yourself a housing placement. That would be that'd be quite cool. There's 7 minutes to go. We're still awaiting pit stops for the top 3. This race could still change yet, folks.
Absolutely. There's still a lot of things undecided over here in the track, and we're still due to see Seminara, Rene, and Verley to come in and do their pit stop. I think they're going to be doing that on the final lap. We've seen that being the trend in some other tracks. Last time I commentated, we even saw a pit stop on the final lap of the race. I think one of them being featured with, I don't know if I remember correctly, it was Lucas that actually did this pit stop fumble on a Porsche car, on a Porsche Cup around Imola, and he got penalized, air quotes, by it, and just couldn't get around that. And good to see Seminara is still going, and let me just say something. I could be very wrong, okay? Right, Evan? But
yes.
I gotta say, give props to the chair. That office chair, more like of a gaming chair, is holding its job pretty tightly. For Simone to be doing 2:01 laps around a track that demands a lot from
moving
from
under
your
the
job.
braking. That's horrible. That's a horrible feeling. It's obviously on wheels as well. He's literally driving off a desk chair.
Yeah.
Some of the drivers will have full on sim rigs, but nope. Seminara is on here with wheels, just like the one I'm sitting on right now. I hope his is from Next Level Racing, of course, one of our fabulous sponsors. Here's Lois Regnier into the pit lane in the all-black McLaren. The number 25 is in for his service, his first and final, or what he hopes is his first and final of this fabulous race here at Bathurst. Just trying to find his pit box. There he goes in. You can see him drop into the 0 kilometre range, and this will hopefully only be a quick service from Lois Regnier. Yep, very quick. You've got to make sure that you didn't speed on the entrance. We'll find that out almost instantly when he exits out of the pit lane. You can see him there crossing the white line. Yep, that's all good from Lois Regnier. So now the pressure is on to Simone Seminara, because if he makes a blunder of his pit stop, Lois Regnier's won the race.
Yeah, absolutely. You just cannot fumble the pit stop, but we see situations like that played before. Like I said, Verley lost a podium, if I remember correctly, or a P2 in a Porsche Cup race at Imola, just to the fact that he overstayed his appearance in the pit lane. It is something that can happen, so looking forward to see if that is going to be the case, both for Seminara and Verley as well.
Yes, as we see Seminara heading up down the, or up I should say, the Conrad straight in towards the chase of turn 20, 21 and 22. A difficult section of circuit here at Bathurst. Oh, car actually off there. I think that's just letting Seminara through. I think that could be a bit of lap traffic. Diogo Villarreal, I would like to think that is. That's what the yellow flags are for at the top of your screen. As you can see, Simone Seminara into the pit lane, wants to make sure he gets his speed down. Oh, no mistake. I think he even went too slow to guarantee that he wins this race. Yep, there's a little bit of a cheeky smirk there. He's very happy with how that one's gone.
Yep. I think this basically has sealed the deal for this race.
Although he never really looked like he wasn't going to win it throughout this race. Oh, another car in the pit lane who he's almost actually hit. It never looked like he wasn't actually going to win this race. It's the last pit box for Simone, or the second last pit box for Simone Seminara. Your picture-in-picture is Lois Regnier. As you can see him just heading down towards turn number 1. There goes Simone Seminara out of the pit lane to start what might be his second final lap here of the Mount Panorama circuit at Bathurst. He's going to try and drive home for the race win. Lucas Verla is exiting the pit lane as well, probably behind Lois Regnier, and he is out. So we didn't actually get any pit lane penalties from the top 3. I promise you I wasn't lying. It has happened in recent weeks as well. Seminara very close to the wall there on the colder tyres.
Yeah, just gotta do now the marks of 2 more laps and get the race win right here for a really good gap that he has built up over Renier and Verley in the final pits, in this pit stop.
As we can see, Simone Seminara just heading round, and he's actually increasing the gap to Lois Regnier. He's starting to push. There's only 2 minutes left. You may as well give it all, but I know he's not really in a championship fight, Seminara, so we have to look at Lois Reginaire, who will certainly extend his championship lead. He's the favourite for this championship. I think we're into the second half of the AMX season. Lois Reginaire definitely the favourite to take the inaugural ACC championship now, Lorenzo.
Absolutely. And then to cap off what was a very interesting race in my opinion with these GT3 cars, and then transition from Bathurst all the way down to Brazil, Georgia for Road Atlanta. Now, one more lap is going to be for Seminara. Just gotta, like I said, find the strides and everything just makes everything more better.
Well, here comes Simone Seminara to start the final lap of the race here at Bathurst. Remember, folks, we have got iRacing coming up for you after this one, GTP at Road Atlanta, as Lorenzo was alluding to. That'll be a fabulous one. That'll be really interesting. Hopefully we can get a good bunch of GTPs and a nice old scrap at the home of Petit Le Mans. As we see Simone Seminara, it's probably the first time in this race when we look at his driver camera that he's actually looked fairly relaxed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I'm trying to find words for to find his race so far. I could call it many things, but I think he might be amused with the fact that he had a very quiet race like this and gonna come out with really good money and points throughout the board.
We have actually got a pit lane penalty. It's Diogo Villarreal who's picked one up. He's 3 laps down already, unfortunately, and a drive-through has been received. But clock strikes red, a checkered flag will be out next time round for the fabulous Simone Seminara in towards Forest's Elbow, or the Dipper and Forest's Elbow, I should say, and onto the Conrad Straight for the final time. Half of the track is Nordschleife, half of the track is Macau, said Kevin Esther once upon a time. Simone Seminara will say both are equally easy, or certainly he's made it look that way in tonight's racing action here on ACC. It'll be a first win of the season for the fabulous Argentine as he heads down towards the chase for this one. Bathurst has been completed for Seminara. He has led ahead of Lois Reginaire, who was in close proximity for most of the race. They were within about 2.5-3 seconds, but here comes Simone Seminara. It's over 7 seconds, the final gap, as he comes home to win in Bathurst and will be crowned tonight's winner here in AMX1. Takes home the $25 prize pool. Lois Reginaire comes home in second position, and Lucas Verler will round off the podium in third. Another good evening of ACC action, Lorenzo.
Yeah, just proving that Bathurst always delivers really good racing. Wherever is a sprint race or an endurance race, it is just a good track for you to drive. Challenging, 100%, not going to deny that, but it is a track that is always highly rated on people's minds when they get around racing, or like on their pipe dreams. So which track do I want to drive? Is all Bathurst, Mount Panorama always comes on people's heads and minds.
I like Le Mans as well, though. Le Mans is quite good. And speaking of Le Mans, Petit Le Mans, of course, we'll be recreating that in a couple of moments' time. But Santiago Barrios running through the final couple of corners to complete our action here at Mount Panorama Bathurst. And a good evening of the ACC Championship. And of course, if you want to check out more Mount Panorama AMX content, you can check that out on our social channels. We'll have the full race results in a couple of moments, but it will be written down in the history books as a Simone Seminara race victory. As you can see, some beautiful overhead shots. One final look at the fabulous mountain, as here is your full race results. It is Simone Seminara who takes the race win ahead of Lois Reginaire. This is Lucas Vela in third, with Thomas Laudapida in fourth, Santiago Barrios in fifth, with Joan Barriero in sixth, Diogo Villarreal in seventh, and then it was Kevin Garcia and Leo Mora in 8th and 9th. Disappointing for Leo, had to bow out early due to substantial damage to his Ferrari 296 GT3, and it wasn't a good race for Lorenzo's favourite Honda either, but it was great to see these guys competing around a fabulous race once again. Lorenzo, what's your final take on it?
Yeah, well, tricky race like I've always talked about in a track like this, but Seminara just proved to be overly dominant. Nobody can touch him, and it is just like this. If you know your race around the mountain, it's a track that many people know how to drive and get around it. But unfortunately, the mountain did take some victims, and they didn't take them by asking them. It just decided it wanted to do whatever it wanted to do. No, absolutely. Well, I think we get back to Evan.
Yes, sorry, just usual connection issues from my side. But yeah, what a fabulous we had at Mount Panorama here this evening. A great final take from yourself, Lorenzo. We'll be back in a couple of moments' time, folks. Do not go anywhere. We'll have some fabulous GTP live from Michelin Road, Atlanta. One final time to remind you to check out our sponsors across the bottom of the screen: Instagram, Twitch, X, got it right this time, Discord, YouTube, AMXRace.com, and our TikTok, of course. Check it out. We'll be taking a short break, back in a couple of moments. Get yourself some popcorn, get yourself a nice soft drink. We'll be back for AMX 10. See you in a few.
To save our home, we must travel through the gateway to find new energy.
In 1969, David Sloyer, Earl Walker and Arthur Montgomery purchased a 750-acre field located just north of Braselton, Georgia, and today we have a fantastic circuit known as Road Atlanta, sponsored by Michelin, of course. Good evening, folks. Welcome back to AMX. It's AMX race number 10, or AMX 10, I should say, race 2 of this evening, and we have the fabulous GTP car class around the 2.5 mile Road Atlanta circuit. It's up, it's down, it's twisty, it's turny. It is a fabulous race circuit this evening, and to go with a fabulous race circuit and a fabulous car, I need a fabulous co-commentator. Lorenzo's back. Lorenzo, this is going to be a good race, I think.
I love the fact that we're racing GTPs in a track like this. Like I said prior to the beginning of this not even prior to, actually at the beginning of the broadcast, this fits well for GTP cars. I think they race very well. They're highly powered. They generate. Of course, they're hard to overtake. But all in all, it's just a track that fits well with this new generation of cars.
Yes, it is a track that looks well, fits well, it drives well. But before we do drive around this fabulous circuit, of course, we are going to run you through a few housekeeping rules. AMX Global League Season 4, of course, we started on January 27th and we'll finish on April 21st. The season prize pool, $20,000, and some fabulous next level racing gear. Most races in a year, the best variety of car and track combos, they're here in AMX Season 4. The race format, well, it's different to what you saw earlier in the ACC category. It is a 20-minute qualifier, followed by a top 15 reverse grid. Heat 1, 20 minutes. Then we go top 15 reverse grid again, heat 2 for 20 minutes, and
yeah, so we're going to be talking about the overview. Driver cams are required for everybody. The payout are imbalances over $100 paid out each month in increments. Then you have the race days at Tuesdays, Saturdays, and then Sundays, just like today. And if you want to sign up and race, well, you can do that anytime at amxrace.com. So what you're waiting for? The schedule of these races: AMX 1 starts at 5 p.m. GMT. AMX 1 starts at 7:20 p.m. GMT across all race days, whether it's going to be on Tuesdays, Saturdays, or Sundays. The prize pool for AMX is a little bit different than what we see at AMX 1. So we start with the qualifying with the pole position receiving $30 and second and $20, third 18, fourth 16, 14, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, all the way down to the 15th place. And the fastest lap only gets $4 in the race itself. It's not going to qualify. And whenever we get to all the two heats of it, we have the top 15 actually is reversed. So pole position goes to 15, and then it reverses all the way down to 15. Where the price pool is pretty much the same, so you can earn all the way up to $98 in a race if you do everything perfectly. The minimal road iRating that you must have is 2,000 iRating, and the total per race is up to $500.
yes, thanks, Lorenzo. Speaking of those prize pools, let's have a look at who has picked up the prize. AMX 10, the top 12, it is still the Frenchman of Gael Valero, who is top $810 prize pool. That's not bad for a bit of Sunday racing. He's won 2 races, of course, or he's won 2 evenings, I should say, this season. And he is just ahead of Aaron Vasquez in second position. Kieran Harrison then in third with Dino Filippa in fourth. And it is Jackson Rasenje in fifth with Gaston Kilhavy in sixth. Fabio Zamperlini, how dare I forget the nickname, is in seventh ahead of last season's winner, Martin Ganez, in eighth. Then it is Simon Demori in ninth with Juan Blenat in 10th. Then it is Pedro Dean in 11th. Peter Zuba then running out the field in 12th position, or running at the top 12, I should say, in 12th position. Now, of course, we have our promotion screen, the D3 promotion. Purchase entry fees 3 days before the race, and you get 30% off. That pertains to all AMX Season 4 races. And then, of course, our season tickets. AMXRace.com will have season entry tickets available for purchase. These tickets are for each class up to a total of 6, and they will provide 50% off to all races of a purchase class. Now I think it is time to introduce what we have and what we're racing this evening. I'm going to hand it over to Lorenzo to run you through Road Atlanta and the fabulous GTR.
Well, Road Atlanta, right? What the Americans call it is the definition of a roller coaster track for road racing. First conceived in 1970 within the town of Brazelton, Georgia. Like our good commentator Evan Dalton has mentioned, this 4,088 kilometer to 12 corner track is everything. Elevation changes, fast flowing corners, flying corners, low portions, deep braking zones. What more can you ask for of a track, right? So basically, it is the home of the Moto Petit Le Mans. This track is especially hard for overtaking, and most specifically, I mentioned this on the first half of the track, from turn 1 all the way down to turn number 7. After that, it's fast flowing, more easy flowing with a big back straight, and then the final 6 turns show them like kinks on the back straight, and then you have the chicane approaching the deep braking zone, and then the up and down roller coaster right hand turns that lead all the way down to the start finish zone. True trivia is here, Evan. The first one is this now is a NASCAR IMSA operated track or own track, but this was actually the hub of one Panas, the fun Panas manufacturer, which was conceived by Don Panas himself, the owner. The track was the first edition of the Petit Le Mans was in 1999, created by the man himself, Don Panas, to try to approach the ACO rules of Le Mans itself and try to have an American version of Le Mans within the United States. And one thing that we haven't mentioned, but we're going to have to, is the rain in iRacing, right? It has come, finally has come, and GTPs weren't the fastest last year. Ben Keating in the LMP2 was fastest by a full second and a half last year over the Wayne Taylor Acura pole in GTPs. So let's talk about cars a little bit. So we said we would be doing GTPs. Basically, we have the whole lineup, the IMSA 2023. We have Cadillacs, we have Acuras, we have Porsches, and then we have the BMW. It's basically all ranging from hybrid engines with also their normal engines as well, ranging from 671 brake horsepower. They're rear-wheel drive cars, weighing on the average of 1,030 kilos, and also boasting a 6-gear sequential gearbox, and ranging also from traction controls. They do not have ABS like you would normally think a LMP car would have. No LMP cars have that kind of thing. But the interesting thing is they have high performance brakes that can make everything just more easy. And all the chassis, all these cars, they're not usually made by the manufacturers themselves. They are third party, whether it's going to be from Dallara, Multimatic, or whatever brand you want to choose, like Ligier as well.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. A fabulous track and car run through. Now, I think it's without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head into qualifying for our own AMX Petit Le Mans. No, it's AMX 10, which some say is more illustrious than Petit Le Mans, but it is Road Atlanta. Very interesting that you bring up rain, Lorenzo. Of course, if you do cast your eyes back to Petit Le Mans in 2015, the Porsche 911 RSR of Nick Tandy, Pilet and Lietz, they actually won in monsoon conditions. You might be saying, well, yeah, okay, Porsche win in IMSA. That was a GT3 car that took the overall win. It was quicker than the prototypes due to the prototypes having to run a spec rain tyre. The GT3 just ran a groove tyre, and it was quicker. And where the trouble arose for that team was on the caution restarts, and there was about 12 of them or something. they had to drop behind cars they were quicker than. That's just because of the protocol. If you watch any endurance racing types, usually go to a coin. But yeah, extremely interesting on that. But we're about 10 through quality here. We join for the best part of it, the latter part of it, and it is Peter Zuba ahead of Eduardo Leo in second position. Ollie Steinbraten in third, ahead of Gael Valero in fourth, and Victor Miranda. If you're looking at Peter Zuba, who's currently top of the order in the Acura, of course, debuted at the 2023 24 Hours of Day. It was built by is a 2.4 litre twin turbo V6 engine and boasts a 640 brake horsepower machine. All these cars, of course, have a 50 kilowatt hybrid system, and that gives these cars a bit of a boost. But in towards sector number 1 and down through the turn 3, turn 4, and up towards turn number 5. If you're careful with traffic here, as you can see, many drivers getting out of the way of Peter Zuba. Up then through turn number 5 and down towards turn number 6. I think he's actually back due to a bit of an impediment in the section. Oh, that's a crash! Oh, that was a hectic collision down towards 10A and 10B. That is Tim State, who has gone absolutely spearing into the button in front of him. That's not what you expect in qualifying. Big damage for those two cars.
Can we call a medical helicopter here, please?
Yeah, that's a horrific collision. One car just not paying attention and weaving in front of Tim State, who was on a push lap, and almost an airplane crash. We saw a very heavy crash in IMSA yesterday in the 12 Hours of Sebring. It was almost recreated here today, so that's not a good start to qualifying for some. We're looking at Eduardo Leo, however, heading down towards the 10A and 10B, the corner Tim State was hoping to get to. Eduardo, of course, recently a man who is been found to be very quick in these GTP cars. He's looking to impress us all here this evening in Road Atlanta. So through the final corner, 11 and 12 onto the main straight, goes the Italian. He has just been pipped by Aaron Vasquez, however, who goes up to second in qualifying.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be setting up for his fast lap around the track right now, and looking to see who's going to be coming out at the top of the pole. And so we look to potentially one driver to go and sit on his rig. A little bit of a wiggle coming for the Italian around turn number 6 for right there, as I think we're now shifting to Victor Miranda or Jackson Hezendi on that end as well for the Delinte Tire Esports by TK, as he goes around turn number 1. Has to set up what I would say the trickiest corner in my opinion in this track, which is turn number 3. It is a blind right hand corner. You kind of have to commit, and there is a very fine line between getting a really good lap around the around that track and getting an off track, which would basically invalidate this lap. And another more interesting thing in my opinion, you can see this Dallara manufactured chassis for the BMW, the M Hybrid V8 car, as like I said, you can have pretty much everything, but what makes this more interesting is the fact that it is a BMW over a field of Acuras that is positioned right here, Evan.
Yes, there's the car choice for this evening is predominantly Acura. We have 2 BMWs, we have 1 Caddy, we have 1 Porsche. The Acura would be traditionally, I suppose, better in sort of a track like this where it's more corner-based. Obviously, Porsche won, or Porsche Penske Motorsport, I should say, won Daytona. I believe the Acura won Sebring yesterday, so it's really up to your own interpretation of what the best car is in this class. It's probably not overly known, but we're looking at Ollie Steinbraten, the only Norwegian here on the field, currently 4th in qualifying, and you can see he is just letting a couple of drivers through. A lot of backing up here in qualifying. Simon Demori is putting in a blistering lap right now. Keep an eye on Simon Demori on the timing screen. He's just gone purple in 2 sectors, as Simon Demori currently situated in 13th position. He'll be looking to improve on that, but we look at Ollie Steinbraten on board the Team Redline GTP. This is the Acura heading down towards turn number 2 and in towards turn number 3 now, running a wide line here, as it backs off a lap very close. You wince seeing how close these cars go to one another in this first sector. In qualifying, when one's going slow and one breezes past, it's scary, but in the race, it's going to be entertaining.
It's going to be entertaining, of course, unless you're going side by side around the S's. We know S's side by side usually means death for one driver. And looking forward to see what Steinbretten is going to finish up his second, setup lap. This shows one interesting aspect about these GTPs, right? You can see them going for 2 slow out laps, setting up the car the best way you can, and then right off into the fast lap that you would have around here is Sebring. Lapping up the gears is going to be the Norwegian of Team Redline, and around he goes for his actual lap around Road Atlanta. Seeing how he's going to fare turn number 3. You have to kind of clip the curb, commit into the inside portion. Looks like to be a really good line. I don't know if that is going to be an advantageous line overall here, Evan. But they're going around the S is the tricky part. He's going to find a GTP right in front of him. That is going to be Peter Zuba from Race Clutch. But he's not going to lose time in the process. That was just done right quick. Looks like to be a very, very good lap for Steinbretten. Is out finding the execution within turn number 7 as Eduardo Leo goes on top of the board for Altus Esports.
Yeah, good lap there from Eduardo Leo. We're looking at a great lap here from Alex Steinbretten. That was a very nice first sector. Heading down the back straight then through what is technically turn number 9, but will be flat out in any sort of an automobile. Steinbretten backs off again. He's not satisfied with anything he's achieving out on the circuit. There is an improvement through the field as well. Here's a car. That is Gael Valero having a massive moment in sector number 1, just as we look at him. The number 33 sliding through the first sector. Obviously not happy with how that car's set up. Still relatively quick, though, is the championship leader. He's doing a good job in 4th position. Eduardo Leo, the only man into the 106s, the young Italian driver with a lot to prove on the iRacing platform, and is going about that the right way. He's looking to pick himself up a third.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, we're looking to it. I was going to mention real quick here, Evan, if there's one thing interesting to talk about as Leo does a lap that is closer to his best lap is how Gael Valero is actually going around in his lap. Sometimes he was flipping out of the 4th gear. Sometimes he was flipping out 5th gear to try to burn as much fuel as he can possibly burn around the track like this. And now I think he's going to start his flying lap around Road Atlanta, and let's see where the Apex Racing team driver driving with the Storm Force Gaming livery is going to fare around the virtual track in the United States.
That's your pole sitter, who has gone off in through the S's. It seems to be a bit of a struggle point for these drivers, but there is only a minute left in qualifying, so unless you're starting a lap now, that's Nico Bitsbitsky, who's gone off as well. Another incident. These drivers are struggling with this circuit. This is Boris Ovando, who we've spoken to in the interview room, of course, after races. And he said he's excited for the track and car combo, said he likes the GTPs, so we look forward to see what he can produce here this evening. Eduardo Leo, not on a hot lap though, meaning it's up to Peter Zuba and Gael Valero on whether they can produce the goods and take pole position here for this evening's race. Race 19, of course, the AMX Season 4 AMX 10 Championship. This is Boris Ovando riding through the final corners now, through turn number 12. Is he able to take a stance here in qualifying? No, that's actually 2/10 slower than his personal best, so no improvement there for Boris Ovando, unfortunately. Seems like that's qualifying all but over. Only 10 seconds left as Gael Valero enters the pit lane. Believe that is no one else on a push stop. Meaning Eduardo Leo will take pole position here for this evening's first race. Well, he takes pole, but he will start from 15th. As here we do have your full qualifying results. Eduardo Leo is your BenQ session winner for this evening. Only man on the 106s. Very good lap indeed. Peter Zuba will start from 2nd with Aaron Vasquez in 3rd. Gael Valero in 4th with Ollie Steinbretten in 5th. Bit of a wave to the camera from Eduardo Leo as Victor Miranda is in 6th position ahead of Nikodem Wierzbicki, who we saw have a bit of a problem on his final attempt in the session. Felipe Dantas in 8th position ahead of Boris Ovando in 9th. Pedro Dean in 10th. Then it's Jackson Rasenje in 11th, with David, whose surname I'm probably going to butcher here, Dizwok. Please feel free to correct that in the stream chat below. Then it's Gaston Kilhaving in 13th, Simon De Mori in 14th, Fabio Zampellini in 15th, and Tim State in 16th. It means Tim State is going to be the only man who's not going to be a beneficiary of the reverse grid. It'll be Fabio Zampellini, Fabio Zampellini, a fan favourite, who will start the first race on pole.
Yeah, and if there's one interesting thing over here you can kind of like talk about is starting first place in a race that can be highly convoluted as this one in a sprint-like fashion is going to be quite interesting. It can give you a little bit of an edge. It just comes down to can the Brazilian be able to break away that quickly and avoid the troubles that we are seeing with drivers. You know, drivers are having difficulties keeping this car, what can we say? I was going to say in a straight line, but it just come from car to car perspective as they're going to do a full lap around Road Atlanta, right? And see how they're going to fare out in action as Benny the pace car is ready to get going.
Yep, the Porsche pace car leaves us off the grid here. We'll have a full formation lap around Michelin Road Atlanta. Fabio Zampellini of Duck Hawk Racing will start on the pole position. Then it is Simon De Mori in second, ahead of Gaston Kilhavy in third. Then it is David in fourth, ahead of Jackson Rasenje for the Canaan Esports team in fifth. Pedro Dean is in sixth position with Boris Ovando in seventh. Felipe Dantas starts in eighth with Victor Miranda. Oh no, apologies, with Nikodem Wierzbicki in ninth. Then it is Victor Miranda in 10th. Ole Steinbracken will start in 11th position ahead of your championship leader Gael Valero in 12th. And there's Aaron Vasquez at 13th, ahead of Peter Zuba in 14th. Eduardo Leo will start in 15th with Tim State down the back. The VR headset man starting in 16th. Lorenzo, what can we expect from this one? It's going to be chaotic, surely.
It's going to be chaotic, 100%, because if there's one thing I normally see around a track like this with the field this close out is the fact that we're going to have a lot of aggression, especially coming down into the 11A, 11B complex of the chicane at the back straight. But will there be courageous cars going side by side through the S's? Like I said before, you can do that, but if there's one thing that I've seen throughout history, commentating not just sprint races like this, but even ancient races like Petit Le Mans in iRacing, is that two cars never go abreast in the S's and make it out alive just unscathed.
Well, here we go then. This is going to be a very intriguing one. It is GTP cars around the home of Petit Le Mans. For AMX 10, it is Road Atlanta. It will be Fabio Zampellini who will start us off on pole position. We're just heading down towards 10A and 10B. The Porsche pace car has peeled off the pack, and we will almost get ready to go racing. Of course, 12 listed corners on this circuit. It's technically 13 actual corners, with 10A and 10B being the left and right hand chicanes. It was the first race was held here in 1970. Vic Elford in a Chaparral 25 managed to take pole with Tony Dean taking the first race win. Fabio Zampellini will be looking to repeat the feat as through the final corner he gets a launch and a half as we go racing here at Road Atlanta. It's a great start for Simon De Mori, already up and ahead of Gaston Kilhavy. Kilhavy is down to third, and we see Boris Ovando gaining a place as well on Dantas, and Aaron Vasquez getting past Ollie Steinbracken for the first sector for the first time. You can see the team red line man just all over the circuit a little bit. Victor Miranda managing to get past Aaron Vasquez as well. Vasquez still up 3 positions though. A great race start from him. You can see the race clutch car of Peter Zuba weaving its way as there's someone got adventuring onto the grass. That is Jackson Rasenje who has gone off. He's now fallen down to 8th position behind Dantas. A poor start there for Jackson for the Canaan Esports team.
Yeah, unfortunately I did to see Jackson have a little bit of an issue, but the important bit is he's now in the train of teammates. He found himself with Felipe Dantas, the Jackson Rezende, and Victor Miranda. So basically, the Linty Canaan Esports. So basically falling close to one another and kind of can block up the action as there's contact between Miranda and Vasquez. And Vasquez goes around, spins out Miranda, and more action at the back.
Yeah, that's a big crash. That is the top two in qualifying, Eduardo Leo and Petar Zuba, who are stranded in the beach here in Georgia, down at turn number 10, turn 10, 10A and 10B, sorry, I should say. We'll have to try get a replay on that one probably in a few moments' time. But Fabio Zampellini and Simon de Mori is... Oh, it's a big collision! Gaston Kilhavy! Major collision heading up through turn number 4 and towards 5. And there's another car gone, man! Oh my goodness me! It's a GTP... It's a GTP chaos scene here at Road Atlanta. There's GTP cars going all ways. It is a circle of chaos here. This is mental at the venue of Petit Le Mans. We knew it was going to be chaotic, but this has probably exceeded all expectations. Side by side here, this is Jackson Resenje and Dantas with Ollie Steinbraten right behind in towards 10A and 10B. Is there going to be a lunge down the inside from one of these guys? You would like to think it's going to be from Jackson Resenje if it's from anyone. Last of the late breakers, it will be Dantas. Steinbraten will try and go in and out. No joy there for them, guys. My goodness me, has this been a chaotic start to the race. Here is Eduardo Leo and Petar Zuba on the picture-in-picture. Oh.
Yeah, Leo just decides to go for a massive lunge right there. Completely locks the brakes, and Zuba, an innocent bystander, was side by side. Took care of his line when he went for the turn in. There was some Italian down on the inside that couldn't make the corner, unfortunately, causing the contact.
Yeah, that is a... not a great start for a lot of drivers. Your running order currently is Fabio Zampellini, Simon de Mori, then it is David Pedrodin, Boris Avando, then it is Dantas, Resenje, Steinbraten, Miranda, Zuba, Stade, Valero, Leo, Kyle Valero, Eduardo Leo, Aaron Vasquez, Vigovic, Bitsky, and Petar Zuba are all lower than 9th place here in the 4th lap of proceedings. This is some big names already down the order here in AMX race 19. What an evening we've had so far. Already 3 laps into it. This is the incident involving Gaston Kilhavy through the S's. Oh, he's lost it under his own accord, I believe. Big contact with the wall. There is GTP debris scattered all over the grass trap. That's not a good incident for Gaston Kilhavy, and it's taken him out of this race.
Yeah. Basically now setting himself for race number 2. Meanwhile, we find in the middle of the pack with Vito Miranda trying to get the position of Ole Steinbraten. So far the BMW not been able to overtake that that Acura Oreca machine, as now Steinbraten with one of the best opportunities over here so far, trying to get with the back end of the Cadillac in front, driven by Resende. The question is Resende being able to defend his position very well, and they're now follow the back straight. And this is the moment where we know that since Brazilian doesn't have any cars in front, the Norwegian is going to make his move. Or not. Okay.
No. Stays behind. Has obviously seen how dramatic the first couple of laps have been in this race, and decides he wants no piece of that. Fabio Zampellini doing an excellent job at the front of this race. As we see, this is Pedro Dean just putting the pressure on. Pedro Dean would love to win like Tony Dean won in a Porsche 908, winning the 300 kilometers event. This is the incident involving Aaron Vasquez. I couldn't really tell you what happened, but there was just a pinch between 2 cars there into the wall. Both out of the race, both significant damages on the GTP. You can come back from damage in this race. Alan McNish did it in the 2008 Petit Le Mans, the LMP1 Audi R8 of Alan McNish, Emmanuel Dino and Rinaldi Capello. They came back from a formation lap crashes. There's almost another crash here. Jackson Resenje gets out of control heading through turn number 7. Bit of a slide there for him. That's going to allow Petar Zuba to maybe have a run on Ollie Steinbraten down in towards 10A and 10B. You can see just slipstreaming here towards the right hander. They're all gaining here on Jackson Resenje. It's 3 wide for the braking zone of 10A and 10B. It's Ollie Steinbraten going for broke, going for the 2 of them. It's Petar Zuba trying to keep the position, and look at this, through goes Jackson Resenje on the 2 of them. The Brazilian has played it perfectly. There's contact between Petar Zuba and one of the cars behind, Jackson Mersenje, was overtaken twice. He took them back as quick as you like.
Yeah, that was amazing from Hezende right there. Just let him cook. Just let them cook. Find the right angle for you to do the overtake. That was some slight contact from what it looked like to be between Zuba and I think that was Time Bratton that got into contact, and somehow, some way, they managed to survive the whole ordeal. And by the way, let me just ask you one thing. Remember those keys to the race I mentioned about Fabio Zamperlini? Right? If you find yourself in a good pocket, well, you're going to have to defend for Simon Demori. And what is going to be on the inside is going to have that draft all the way down to the back straight side. Draft for both of them. Braking might benefit the Brazilian a little bit on the inside, but the outside is going to favor the Simon Demori. And now Simon Demori goes into the lead with basically half of the race to go with the Brazilian, considered to catch back for Black Hawk Racing.
You can see there Simon Demori taking the race lead here in this first heat, lap 7 of 18. We've still got plenty of racing to go here, so it's not over just yet for Fabio Zamperlini, but these two are in a great position, 3.3 ahead of Pedro Dean. These guys are in a great position for a 1-2 regardless of the order. Then it's Pedro Dean, Boris Avando down to 3 and 4, and then it's down towards the battle between Ollie Steinbratton and Victor Miranda. I think Steinbratton has actually escaped that sort of gaggle of cars. He's a little bit ahead. There was some trouble maybe for Jackson Mersenje as well as some more trouble for Jackson Mersenje. He's falling down the order in 12th position. He's now dropped behind Tim State, so problems for problem to Ollie Steinbratton, because Jackson Mersenje has now fallen down to 13th. He won't be in this fight. Eduardo Leo is fighting back for the pack after that incident at 10A and 10B. He's now in 10th position, but this is Gael Valero you're looking at, goes for the outside. Victor Miranda tries to defend for the inside, but as outside becomes in for the next corner, Gael Valero becomes the 7th place driver for this next corner. The Frenchman, the championship leader, he's up another position.
Yeah, naturally going to be gaining that position. Just the fact that the Acura has a little bit of more raw speed in comparison to the BMW. Oddly speaking, if we're talking about well, this is fixed setups, and normally you would see more of a equal playing field, and the BMW does have a little bit of grip from corners, and also has traction coming out of the corner. It's just that the Acura on the fixed setups is a little bit superior when it comes out of the corners, and the rebounds, like I said on the YouTube chat, just makes things more difficult to car in play.
There's Peter Zuba for race clutch down the inside of Victor Miranda. He's got the job done on Miranda, but has to be careful not to be slipstreamed down towards 10A and 10B. The Brazilian knows how to produce an overtake at AMX. He's done it before, he'll do it again if he has to. That is Eduardo Leo, who we are looking at as well in this battle. He's up 5 spots to 10th. Is this going to be a lunge? This is last of the late breakers for Eduardo Leo. That is a piece of racing excellence. Last of the late breakers for the Italian. He's up, he's ahead, he's into 9th. He's going to be looking back at that move for years to come. That was executed literally centimetre perfect.
Yeah, really good movement right there from Eduardo Leo. Just did the opportunity of within an overtake on the last second. Just clipped it on Miranda. Miranda didn't fight way too much on that. My question begs if Miranda has some mechanical issue or something like that, or this BMW is just lacking true pace, and it is lacking true pace. No tires whatsoever after this massive wiggle, then half spin.
Victor Miranda almost had a little bit more than a mechanical issue. He almost had a shattered automobile, but caught the wobble out of the corner. He's now in 11th position and trying to get his spot back on. Felipe Dantas in 10th position. Simon Demori is up and ahead. 1.1 to the good, now 1.5 to the good almost. Fabio Zamperlini. Can Victor Miranda maybe repeat what Eduardo Leo did on the last lap? No, we'll have to stay in 11th.
No, I think right now for Miranda is just trying to survive the best way he can around a track like this. I think if there's one thing this track is infamous for, depending on the weather, and I think the weather over here is kind of like of a warm weather, is not overcooking the tires. I think he might have overcooked the tires a little bit, and then coming back with the track that has so much, not not just like I said, we said before, elevation changes, but direction shifts. It makes cooling the tires a little bit more hard. So you can see the work that Miranda is doing to try to keep this car on the track. It is just complicated.
So we're looking at him on the racing circuit. You can just see him concentrated, checking his tires, checking his deltas, checking everything, as he is trying to gain the maximum here in this race. This is Ollie Steinbraten of Team Redline, looking to attack the Polish national in front. Steinbraten up 5th positions, just like we saw Eduardo Leo was. Currently in 6th, though. He'd love to make that 6 positions up to 5, not 5 positions up to 6. He'd pick himself up $2 extra in the prize pool. See both of them laser focused at the bottom of your screen. You have to be. It's such a demanding track and such a demanding car. They're using everything of this 640 horsepower and the 50 kilowatt hybrid engine to maximise the straight line speed up through turn number 5, then exiting the S's, the arguably most difficult point in this circuit. Ollie Steinbraten is teeing up a move here in towards turn number 10A and 10B. He's just going to get a good exit. And if these two right-handers just thread the needle a little bit, you can see him getting right close to the driver in front, and bam, put the throttle down, pedal to metal, get the most out of your car and maybe lunge one down the inside. Steinbraten, what way is he going to go? Left or right? He's going to go for the left. It's the outside for this sweeping right-hander, but it is the inside for the first part of the chicanes, and that's what Steinbraten needs. The Norwegian's not even going to have to compete on the brakes because he's already up and ahead. Well executed move there from the very experienced veteran.
Yeah, and Zivok actually didn't want to fight way too much. He just let Steinbraten go by, and he probably knows that he would have lost too much time trying to defend his position. That would just make things more complicated, as probably he knows that Valero is coming and Zuba is also coming as well, so there is a danger he might lose that P6 in the next few laps towards the end of the race, so there is always that opening. While the Stormforce gaming driver is trying to follow suit, Borzavando goes into P3 just off screen, as I think Pedro Dean has a little bit of a blunder and allowed the Precision Racing esports driver to go into P3. And now you can see all the work that Valero is doing just to try to, maintain this train of cars, because you got Valero, Zuba, and Eduardo Leo not far behind a train of Acuras, starting from Stormforce Gaming all the way back to Altus Esports.
Yeah, of course, if you're wondering how the non-Acuras are doing in this race, it is Felipe Dantas, Victor Miranda, Gaston Gulhavi and Jackson Mersenje who are not in them. So 2 of them are out of the race, and the other 2 are in 10th and 11th. But this is Gael Valero, your championship leader, who you are looking at. He's looking to sort of defend from Peter Zuba. It's not often you associate a championship leader with defending from a quicker competitor behind, but it seems like the race clutch man might just have Gael's number in these GTP downhill section of the S's. You can see just sweeping into the left and right, full commitment through there, braking for the uphill right-hander Zuba. So good in that first segment. That is just an excellent performance there. You see the second times, yep, he's up by about a 10th. It's just truly fantastic to watch such skillful drivers through such a skillful section of track. Bit of a wobble on exit from Petr Zuba in the race clutch Acura, so he will have to try and capitalise on the braking maybe in towards 10A and 10B. You can see Gael Valero still getting a good run down the straight. I don't think Petr Zuba's close enough here. No, absolutely not. He'll be behind for another lap at least.
Yeah. I think this battle is probably going to come down with 2 laps to go. The way that Zuba is probably going to just let him cook with the way the things are going, As you can see, laps are very, very similar to one another. So looking forward to see how this one will pan out.
Yep, as we are looking at Petr Zuba there in the bottom left, he is hounding down Gael Valero in front, as you can see. Just even look how quick the camera has to move in these cars. Oh, wobble there for Gael Valero. Big moment for Gael Valero. Championship leader is off the circuit. He's lost a couple of spots to Petr Zuba and to Eduardo Leo here on lap 14 of 18 in the first of 2 heats at Michelin Road Atlanta. Petr Zuba is up to 7th position. Eduardo Leo is up to 8th. Gael Valero is down to 9th. Big wobble on the exit of turn number 5. It's a difficult corner to do it at. And you can see him just fall down. It's going to be Eduardo Leo versus Peter Zuba, I think, for 7th position now in the last 4 laps of this race.
Yeah, it's gonna be that, and also we're gonna have a battle for P4 as well as Steinbraten has caught up to Pedro Dean. So top 5 battle all across the track. Good to know that we still have battles everywhere despite the whole chaos and drama that we had in this racetrack. And things like that, as Zuba just decides to, have his Dubai 24 moment on camera. For those who know what I'm talking about, I think he did. I'm gonna ask Peter. No, I'm gonna ask Peter on Discord later. I have his Discord. I can actually do that question later. As now Steinbrand is at his closest towards the Brazilian. It's going to be an interesting race over here because Pedro is more of a Formula driver than the GTP driver itself. And Cyber has more GTP pedigree. I'm going to say pedigree or more experience as the Brazilian does. Makes the overtake rather easily and goes into P4.
Yeah, good move there from Ollie Steinbraten. He's just gone ahead fairly easily. Peter Zuba gets past David Ziwok as well for 7th position. Lap 16 out of 18. Oh, he was changing gears with with that finger. Okay, that's quite funny. Although now that I think about it, do people change gears differently? I use my full hand. I'm not sure.
I do. Yeah. They do change it differently. You're not gonna see it in the camera, right? I'm not gonna because I don't have a camera on me. But some people do it with the 2 middle fingers, right? With the middle finger and the 3rd finger, right? Some of them do with the 2 first fingers, the index and the middle finger. Some of them with just 1 finger, which is the middle finger or the 3rd finger or the index, whatever they want to do. It is just down to driver's preference and what makes it easier to go with the wheelbase they have, right? Yeah, so I think we still have about 2 laps to go. Zamperlini finding off with Borders Ovando going around turn number 1 and 2. Going to number 3, is the Brazilian going to be able to hold the Precision Esports Racing Esports driver? You can even see Olin Steinbrand not far behind, 1.1 seconds away from the number 12 car. And now the gap is all shrunk into less than that. Meanwhile, Zivok having a little bit of an issue going to the pit lane. A broken car around the outside. Instead, Aaron Vasquez is coming around in the track on Nicolas Biki that have a little bit of an issue. Going to turn number 7. We know Savio Mori is probably going to win this race, given any circumstances that might transpire over the track. As I can see Ovando catching that backdraft off the Brazilian Fabio Zamperini, the DHR Blackhawk Racing. Inside is the number 12. He doesn't dive down because there is no overlap for you to work with. And now Zamperini, a little bit of a wiggle, traction wiggle coming out of the corner, but so far 327 retains the position for 1 more lap, but can he hold for the final laps is a real question.
White flag has raised. We're on the final lap. It is Fabio Zamperini versus Boris Ovando, the Brazilian, versus the American from the United States of America, of course. Can Zamperini defend 2nd position here in this race? They've got to be careful because Ollie Steinbraten is charging like a raging bull right behind Boris Ovando. He's looking to maybe try snatch a podium placing off Boris Ovando. This could be very interesting. On the brakes down towards 10A and 10B out of the final corner. Bit of a weaving from all 3. Zamperini just trying to break the toe from Boris Ovando right behind her. All is, so they all should have fairly similar straight line speed, but crucially Boris Ovando and Ollie Steinbraten have slipstream. Boris is going to be really late on the brakes if he wants to try take 2nd position. No, just not close enough. Fabio Zamperini has performed excellently to keep 2nd position here. Simon De Mori is going to win the race here at Road Atlanta, but it will be Fabio Zamperini who returns to an AMX podium to take 2nd position. Boris Ovando in 3rd, but Ollie Steinbraten in 4th. That was a fantastic race.
That was a fantastic race. Meanwhile, at the back, you can even see drivers finishing. Peter Zuba is going to be in 6th place. Pedro Dean 5th. Eduardo Leo is going to be 7th, followed closely by Gao Valero. And then the other cars start to wrap up their laps. But chaotic race number 1. It basically delivered everything that you probably wanted to see around the track.
Yes, as we have Jackson Resenje coming home as well. The fastest lap went to Aaron Vasquez. He came back out on track, took the fastest lap, and that's the brilliant initiative here in AMX that it just keeps you motivated to perform. It keeps you wanting to get as much prize as you can. That's what a fast lap provides. That's not a good-looking GTP for Jackson Resenje. That's a late night in the garage job.
Yep. I think we have to let the BMW engineers know that not BMW engineers, Cadillac engineers know they are missing a bonnet and something else.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere out on track. The BenQ session winner is Simon De Mori. The German-Austrian wins by 3 seconds ahead of Fabio Zampellini. Boris Avando takes third ahead of Ole Steinbraten in 4th. Pedro Dean in 5th with Peter Zuba in 6th. Eduardo Leo in 7th ahead of Gael Valero in 8th. And then it is Victor Miranda in 9th with Tim State coming home in 10th. Good performance from Tim after starting from the back. Nikodem Wierzbicki is in 11th with Felipe Dantas in 12th. And it is David Zivok in 13th ahead of Gaston Kohavi in 14th with Jackson Resenje in 15th. Aaron Vasquez coming home in 6th did take the fastest lap in session. That means it's going to be Jackson Resenje and Gaston Kohavi, the front row. And I wonder, will the opening couple of laps, Lorenzo, be just as chaotic as the last heat?
Of course! What do you expect more?
Very true. Here's your grid for the second of 2 heats. Jackson Resenje for Canaan Esports is on the pole ahead of Kohavi in 2nd. Then it is David Zivok in 3rd with Felipe Dantas in 4th. Nikodem Wierzbicki is in 5th with Tim State in 6th. Victor Miranda will line up in 7th with Gael Valero in 8th position. Then it's Eduardo Leo in 9th with Peter Zuba in 10th. Keep an eye on that gaggle of cars between 7th to 10th. Miranda, Valero, Leo, Zuba. It'll be very interesting. And even a little bit further back with Pedro Dean in 11th and Ole Steinbraten in 12th. And then it is Boris 13th with Fabio Zampellini in 14th, and then Simon De Mori in 15th position ahead of Aaron Vasquez in 16th. Lorenzo, I didn't ask you for a prediction in the last race, but I'm going to ask you one here in this race. Is there anyone you fancy to take the win here?
After that race one, I have zero clue.
Yeah, it's not the easiest question in the world to predict an AMX race at the best. But I think what we can safely say is that there's going to be a lot of exciting battling in this one.
Yeah, there will be. I think this mid-pack is going to be quite interesting. The fact that is going to try to find those pockets of things. I think Aaron Vasquez is going to find himself first, probably with a really good track position to try to go for the win right here. It's just the guys at the back that are going to find the trouble the most to try to get around the track like this and make things more complicated.
Well, let's see then, we're heading up towards turn number 1. Simon De Mori is right at the back of it in that Acura. Of course, we have a Cadillac on pole position in Jackson Resenje. The Cadillac of E-Series, of course, ran in IMSA and WEC. One of my favourite sounding cars just in motorsport at the minute. It's a 5.5 litre V8. It's the largest engine in the class. It has 670 brake horsepower. It is, of course, it's the same weight as the other cars, and it's the same hybrid system. But heading down towards 10A and 10B, the Porsche pace car will be looking to pull into the pit lane fairly soon. There'll be Jackson Resenje there on the outside in the black Acura, and that's Gaston Kohavi in the red one to his left hand side. We saw Zampellini go out of this corner the last time round. Senji's holding us a little bit longer down towards turn number 11 and turn number 12. It's the final heat of the evening. The pack is all bunched together, and now we go racing here at Road Atlanta for the final time. It's a great start for Felipe Dantas as well, and there's already a car round. There is already a car round. That is your second place man from the last race, Fabio Zappellini, who's had some trouble heading for the final corner on this race start. That is a horrible look for him. Eduardo Leo gets ahead of Tim State, where in the mid-pack Felipe Dantas as well as Gaston Colhavi. Problems for Gaston Colhavi. He's gone falling down the field. Colhavi and Zappellini have had a horrid race start. There is Gaston Colhavi car off as well. That's last race's winner, Simon de Mori, who's losing places. It's typical GTP chaos here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours right around a track like this, and you can see Leo on the inside diving down. Can he actually do the overtake? And no, he cannot make it stick.
No, you cannot make it stick. There was a lot of trouble for Simon de Mori and Aaron Vasquez on that first lap. They've both bowed to the pit lane. They will not be winning this race. As you can see, major battles in the background. This is Tim State versus Ollie Steinbraten and Pedro Dean. Pedro Dean up the inside of Tim State. Tim in the very recognisable pink and orange GTP. He loses a position down to 13. Zampellini re-overtaking. So it goes to show how chaotic that first lap was. Zampellini was literally facing the wrong way before the start-finish line, and he's already up to 12th place. AMX never change.
Yeah, AMX, these three races, they're interesting due to the fact that you can have all kinds of actions with the different paces and everything around the track. Now you can see Zivo, who had an issue early on trying to fend off from both Nico Wierzbicki and also Eduardo Leo and Victor Miranda. So interested to see how the Polish is going to do that. Meanwhile, Leo on the inside again, going for 2 over here, Leo. So is it going to work as they remain side by side through the corner and opens the door for the Brazilian with that BMW GTP to come closer and pin overtake?
Eduardo Leo on the outside of Victor Miranda heading down towards 10A and 10B. That's going to be Eduardo Leo ahead of the Brazilian. His next challenger is Nico Wierzbicki in P4. It is Resenje, Dantas, Dieswalker, Wierzbicki, Leo, Miranda, Valero, Steinbraten, Dean, Ovando. Your top 10. Still plenty of racing to go. Lap 3 of 18 has been completed. We start lap 3 of 18. 2 of 18 has been completed. Still a lot to play for. Steinbraten sets the initial fastest lap of the race, but I imagine one of those guys who have bowed into the pit lane might try to set that fastest lap later. Jackson Resenje leads by 2.2 seconds. One good quality of Jackson Resenje is once he gets in front, he can lead from the front. He knows how to win races when he's in control. If we saw Wierzbicki run a little bit wide, we see Eduardo Leo right on his tail. Eduardo Leo had a brilliant move on lap 8 in the first race down towards 10A and 10B. He's looking to do something similar. You can see that first lap crash on the picture, but we just keep an eye on the Acura right on the tail of Nico Wierzbicki. It's Eduardo Leo to the outside of 10A. He'll have the inside for 10B. Wierzbicki just lets the Italian through. It seems like Eduardo Leo is a hot favourite for this race win.
Is it though? I really want to look on the general lap submission. Everybody, Resenje with a 1.17, Eduardo Leo with a 1.75. So it is. It looks to be the favorite, but you have a whole plethora of cars right behind that you can follow suit, and he had a little bit of more clear track. The question is, can he make the move stick now on the Polish driver right in front of you? So the Italian works the line. He's outside of the turn number 5 and 6. And now, does he go for the dive over here again? It is 1 for 2 so far for the Italian. No dive whatsoever. Is going to make out overtake work on the back straight.
Yep, down towards 10A and 10B again. The laps are quick here at Road Atlanta, but we wouldn't have them any other way. It's now Nico Wierzbicki and Victor Miranda, the battle that we are focusing on, the Brazilian versus the Polish national. Seems like it'll be a little bit more smoother for Wierzbicki this time. He will stay ahead for the time being. Less chaotic than the first race. We have a nice gaggle of cars all together from 2nd down to Ollie Steinbraten in 8th. We're looking at Gael Valero now in your picture-in-picture, current AMX 10 championship leader. He would love to be crowned champion come at 4 weeks' time. Of course, this season finishes on the 21st of April. But you probably know that from housekeeping each week. You can see right at the back of Gael Valero. This is probably one of the highest quality battles we've ever had in AMX. Steinbradden versus Valero. Two drivers with a lot of prestige on iRacing. We jump ahead quickly. Eduardo Leo got to get past Dieswalk.
Yeah, it's light contact between them here, Evan, but so now he makes the move. I'm not going to say this is like 2 for 3 because the move actually started prior to this, but good overtaking by Leo. Now he can actually break away a little bit and try to charge on the other cars while Miranda tries to go on the inside of Wierzbicki. Wierzbicki going to the inside of Steinbrenner or Zivok. The only contact between them, there's light contact between Wierzbicki and Zivok. Like friendly fire from the same country but not same team, and everything just starts getting more chaotic and nearly heartbreaking for some of these drivers.
Look at this, we're 3 wide almost in towards turn number 1. Miranda, Valero, Steinbrenner. Quality, class and precision from all 3. That's an excellent bit of driving as Victor Miranda stays ahead of Gael Valero and Ollie Steinbrenner for the time being. That was so close through that final corner. But none of them made contact. It goes to show how good drivers these guys really are. Lap 6 of 18, still Resenje who leads, but he has made a mistake because that gap is now down to 8 to Felipe Dantas.
Yeah, Jackson unfortunately is not going to be able to defend the position for, with a good gap for as long as he probably wanted to, as one half of the Dantas brothers managed to catch up his draft. He's going to ride the back draft and get closer with his Porsche. And Eduardo Leo with the Acura is going to just follow suit, and we're going to have a top 3 battle on our hands real shortly. Meanwhile, all these guys struggling to pass Zivok as he's putting in a stallion defense, and Valero on the inside is going to make the overtake stick on the Brazilian of Victor Miranda, and the Storm Force gaming driver goes up 1 spot.
Yeah, broke a little bit later, ran a little bit wide through the first corner, but it was the line that overtook Victor Miranda for 6th place here in heat number 2 of your final race of the evening. Now you're looking at Ollie Steinbrenner looking to get past Victor Miranda. You can see Miranda feeling the pressure from the icy cool Norwegian behind him. Ollie Steinbrenner, one of Team Redline's best in GTP machinery. He's certainly proving why he has that title here this evening. On to the straight through turn number 8 and down towards the curve through turn number 9. Here comes Ollie Steinbrenner up the inside. It'll be easy as you like, really. Victor Miranda will fall in behind. There is 2 wide in front, however, as well. That is Nikodem Wierzbicki and Gael Valero side by side. Wierzbicki, oh, great move from the Polishman to get behind his fellow Polish national, and that's going to allow Ollie Steinbrenner to go 2 for 2 and overtake Gael Valero as well. Really excellent racing on display here in Heat 2. It's a lot cleaner than Heat 1. It is a lot more entertaining for us and for the viewers at home.
Yeah, I think they found the strides around the car and the balance going around the corners and the commitment. So I think that's made things more fizzled out in this instance. Meanwhile, battle for the lead, and Jackson Resende have to fend off Eduardo Leo as the Italian tries to find the room for overtaking. He's not going to find on turn number 7, but it certainly rides the back bumper, the back wing of the Brazilian. You can even see Jackson trying to use the wind behind his curtain to try to, ride and give him a little bit of speed, but the Italian thinks otherwise.
I mean, it's worked. He has got ahead. He has stayed ahead, but it looked like it was all said and done for Eduardo Leo. Wow, neither of these 2 guys like lights. My goodness me, those dark point of views. But Jackson Resenje fending off for the time being. Eduardo Leo's got to play his cards right here. He's got to make sure that there's no over-aggressive moves and no mistakes. It was actually a mistake from Jackson Resenje up the hill, and that is why Eduardo Leo is so close. You can see in the picture the battle for 5th place as well, but we got to keep an eye here on the battle for first, because it's looking like it's a matter of time for the Italian of Eduardo Leo to retake 1st place. Was the quickest man in qualifying, was your BenQ session winner for qualifying, but Resenje makes another mistake heading through turn number 5 down towards turn number 6 then. Eduardo Leo sits behind by the time being. You'd really fancy the 2nd place man enough to get the run on Resenje down towards 10A and 10B. Here we go then. Remember, Resenje a bit more straight line speed. He is in the Cadillac. Eduardo Leo is in the Acura. And down towards the chicane for the 9th time here. We're at the halfway point of the race. Eduardo Leo is going to look to brake later in that Acura, and he does. And he is ahead of Jackson Resenje. Eduardo Leo has performed so well here in Heat 2 of proceedings, and he takes a well-deserved lead.
Yeah, now he's going to start to break away from both Brazilians, but Resenje still, I think, has one spot to fight back. You just have to stay close, but they have things otherwise, it opens a big gap.
So we're looking at the battle here for 5th place between Ollie Steinbraten and Gael Valero. A top quality fight that we've seen throughout the course of the evening, as they're both on the back of David Dieswak. They're fighting for 4th position here in heat number 2. If you're enjoying the action, make sure you do check out all our media channels, of course. Pop a subscribe on the YouTube stream. Enough. Your support is appreciated by all here in AMX. I tell you what, though, somebody's probably going to need life support after the pressure of this battle. That is a right old train of GTPs.
Yeah, really good train of GTP so far. Zivok holding his ground. Like I said, he's holding his ground quite nicely in comparison to the cars right behind him. Normally you would think that, just because he has lesser I rating than Steinbraten, Valero, and Zuba, and Versbeek does, he's not allowed to be in a position like this, but unfortunately he's going to lose 1 to Steinbraten.
Yeah, Steinbraten forcing Dieswak into a mistake, and now he's at the back of this train. So from front to back, Dieswak loses on the attack from Ale Steinbraten behind him, and the Polishman is now behind Nico Demwitz-Bitsky. He's a fellow national, of course. Now it's Gael Valero's chance to attack the Acura in front of him, the red line Acura, because Ale Steinbraten does not have any slipstream assistance down the long straight from turn number 7 to turn number 10A. It is only, of course, a 4-kilometre circuit, 2.5 miles, but this straight makes up a good part of it. And the lap record here is in similar machinery. It's in an LMP won by Christian Clean, a 107 flat, meaning technically Eduardo Leo is your new lap record holder in a GTP. He beat that in qualifying, but no move here for Valero or for Zuba. Ollie Steinbraten will stay ahead of this battle as well. These guys are slowly catching Felipe Dantas as well, so Dantas has got to be careful, as does Resenje. The 2 Brazilians are being swallowed up by Gagli Europeans.
Yeah, absolutely. Last lap, Steinbraten faster by a nearly full half second on Felipe Dantas. Again, it's that mix of things. Dantas being a open wheel specialist, more like an F3, F4 in Super Formula specialist rather than a GTP. He's coming soon. He was coming soon to specialize himself in the GTPs. Steinbraten is more like a, believe it or not, he actually has, I would say, the same pedigree in TCRs than Valero does, as now Zuba has a little bit more of a wide arc to work on turn number 7 to attempt that overtake on turn number 10A and 10B.
Oh, nudge between the race clutch car and of Gael Valero. Pedro Zuba is going to try the up and under, not successful on this occasion, but he's got a monster of an exit compared to the 33 in front of him of the Acura. Pedro Zuba is still in close contention of overtaking. Guy's got to go for a lunge in towards the first corner here. Is he? No, Valero covers him off. Great racing between these two. Great defending from Gael Valero when it looked all lost from Petr Zuba. Zuba tried a bit of a too close of a side draft, but he's got a fantastic exit out of the S's though. The race clutch man looking to try and capitalise up the hill in towards turn number 5. It's not going to be enough in towards turn number 5 and runs a bit wide. Does Petr Zuba? Keeps it close, keeps it out of the wall, uses the outside curve to his advantage. Dieswak has made the exact same mistake behind him. But stays ahead for the time being. This is Nico Witzbitsky and Victor Miranda. Witzbitsky runs wide, Miranda true.
I've been committing the Cardinal sim, but here we go, back into the track action, and Miranda able to get through for the time being, but how long can he hold from Veer speaking Dean? And even though Dean now on the inside of the Polish driver, the manager of Drago Racing, can he make the work? No, he cannot. He's going to lose ground to Boris Ovando. Now Boris is going to be on the outside and maybe overtakes the Brazilian.
Yeah, Boris Ovando was high up in the first race, of course, managed to finish third. He's now down the inside of Pedro Dean in towards the first corner. These two are going to keep it side by side, heading up through free, and yes, good move by Boris Ovando. He's up and ahead of Pedro Dean, I believe. Oh no, that's the other way around actually, sorry, that's Pedro Dean ahead of Boris Ovando. Here is Petr Zuba finally launching his attack on Gael Valero, and he made that attack look easy. There was obviously a mistake somewhere by Gael Valero. Valero might be able to get the slipstream down towards the chicane and overtake Petr Zuba back. That's what we've seen previous in this race. As you can see, Petr Zuba being gained on in a straight line. It just seems like Valero didn't get the best of exits potentially, and he's going to have to stay behind for the time being unless he's over-ambitious on the brakes. No, not enough here, unfortunately, for Gael Valero. We look inside this Acura cockpit. You can see the driver, you can see the virtual driver. You can see just how little you can see sometimes in these GTPs. It's quite an enclosed cockpit, maybe compared to maybe your TCRs, your GT3s, your GT4s. And you can see how difficult it can be at a circuit like Road Atlanta. Unless your name is Eduardo Leo, of course. He's now got a 5-second lead, making it look simple at the front.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think which cockpit I think was back in the old days. I think there was the Bentley. There was another cockpit that was centralized that made things more difficult for viewing. As now we look into Felipe Dantas and on Steinbratton. Steinbratton just cooking the rear end of the Porsche of Felipe Dantas. Now fully set up to try to go for the lunge on the back straight of the Brazilian. So let's see if the Norwegian has the speed. He rides the draft and sets up a 10A, 10B for an overtake.
Here comes Ole Steinbratton. It's inevitable. The Norwegian is almost like an assassin in towards turn number 10A. He will always get his move done. They might sometimes go for two. He's trying to take two Canaan esports drivers in one go in towards turn number one. He's not going to quite get past Jackson Resenje, but you would like him to. He'll just have to stick behind for the time being. Felipe Dantas has been dispatched. And as we go onto our third final lap of this evening's action, Ole Steinbratton, you'd like to think is going to get second. But that could be a commentator's curse.
You nearly cursed Jackson, though.
It did. That was scary for Resenje. He runs over the curbing at 5. Oh, that's very close, right behind Jackson Resenje. Steinbratton right into the slipstream of the car in front. Remember, Resenje slightly quicker on the straights because he is in the Cadillac as opposed to the Acura. This is actually the first three-car fight we've had. This is Cadillac versus Acura versus Porsche. Here as Steinbratton, reserved, composed, stays behind, not going to do anything stupid.
Yeah, and also Jackson, a little bit of a mistake coming out of the second to last corner. Is going to open up the door on the outside for Steinbratton to try to make that overtake. He has a little bit of room. Do they make contact? No, they keep it clean. Going to turn number 2 and number 3, who has the retain of the lead so far, is the Brazilian. Throws Steinbratton to the outside. He's going to have a little bit of Dantas with the overlap. Try to go around the S's, but Steinbratton retains, and now Zubin Valero joins them.
Yes, that was so close for the S's between Ole Steinbratton and the two Tony Kanaan esports cars, as now Petr Zuba and Gael Valero have introduced themselves to proceedings. It's going to get very tasty. And on the final couple of laps, Petr Zuba in the race clutch car has driven an excellent race. He's looking to try and take a couple more positions and get a couple more bucks for his position. He's now going for the inside of Felipe Dantas in the Porsche GTP. The race clutch car is ahead for the time being. The next goal will be Ole Steinbratton. Eduardo Leos, that's a 7-9 to start the final lap of the race. The white flag is waving. This is looking like it's going to be an easy evening for Eduardo Leo here in heat number 2. It's not easy for any of these guys who are in a titanic fight. There's a lunge down the inside. Gael Valero gets past Felipe Dantas, and Dantas unfortunately has fallen from 3rd to 6th in a matter of laps. Gael Valero does get past, but he might have just sacrificed any chance of overtaking Peter Zuba in this race. This battle is going to be between Jackson Resenge, Ole Steinbraten and Peter Zuba. You can see Resenge, for the umpteenth most time, runs wide heading through turn number 5, but he hasn't been punished for it this time round because Steinbraten had an equally poor exit. They could potentially go free abreast on this final lap down towards the chicane. You can see Steinbraten tucked into the slipstream of the Cadillac in front. You can see behind Peter Zuba trying to tuck into the slipstream of the red line car. It's 3 fantastic esports teams, 3 fantastic drivers trying to fight for second position on the final lap. Here comes Ole Steinbraten down the inside. No, it's no go for the Norwegian as Eduardo Leo comes to win the race. Is it going to be a move for Peter Zuba potentially for the final corner? Was looking for the inside there. Can Steinbraten work something around the outside? As no, it doesn't seem like he can. It will be Jackson Resenge in second and Ole Steinbraten in third and Peter Zuba in fourth. What an ending, what a final lap.
Yeah, what a final lap. Everything just decided to kick off in the closing moments of this race. And the Brazilian managed to retain with very astounding defense on his car, and really good to cap off the race like this. On a Sebastian Bourdais-esque defend that actually, instead of not working in Sebring 12 hours against Louis Delatraz, it actually worked over here in the Petit Le Mans track and now retained a podium spot in P2.
What an unbelievable race here this evening. What an unbelievable couple of heats. I saw a couple of people in the stream chat thoroughly enjoying that one. That was fantastic. As your fastest lap in that race actually went to Peter Zuba. There was no one down the back of the order. As we will have your full race results coming up in a few moments and a couple of interviews. So don't go anywhere. I'll be chatting to a couple of the champions of this evening's race. But Lorenzo, Road Atlanta, GTP's delivered.
Yeah, always delivers. I think race 2 was. I don't think. Oh, okay. If I say think, it would be an offensive thought. It's a dead sure certainty as we look into the results. Eduardo Leo being our Ben Pure session winner over here. But what matters the most? This race 2 was much cleaner, and I would say by leaps and bounds, much more cleaner race than race 1 was. Race 1 was more chaotic because I think they were not used with the cars and everything, and the cars were bouncing off some of the cars, especially at turn number 5. But other than that, it just delivered a good close racing, hard racing as well between everybody, and all podium is deserved by everybody.
Yeah, fabulous performance from Eduardo Leo to take the prize pool. We'll have your confirmed results on who is your overall winner here this evening, of course, as we will be chatting to one of the stars of this evening, Ale Steinbraten, who had a fabulous performance here. But Lorenzo, I think it's safe to say that the GTPs are
a good car. I agree. It's a car that is not easy. I would say it's a little bit harder than the LMP2 in certain technicalities. And I say this because I usually drove the LMP2 quite a lot. My main car was the HPD ARX 01 car back in the old days of iRacing, prior to the LRP 217. But the P217 is more a mechanically gripped car and has a little bit better downforce. But the GTPs are tricky in the reason that they have the braking, right? A little bit of a better braking than the LMP2 does, but it is that mixture of not having the braking that the LMP1 does, and it does waste more rear end rubber than the LMP1 does as well, and the LMP2 does as well. So you have to find the right balance of lifting up the car, ensuring that you're carrying the speed up the corner appropriately. So it is more of a challenging car than anything like that. But once you get around into the grips of it, it is just a nice car to drive.
Well, folks, we are going to hear from one of our only Norwegian driver this evening. We'll have a quick chat with Ole Steinbart. Hello, Ole, can you hear me?
Hello, yeah, I can hear you. Perfect.
Congratulations this evening. You were described by one of our stream chat as a killer. It seemed like whenever you came up to someone, you overtook them with precision. A fabulous performance from you this evening. Nice.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really a fun race. I think this is actually my second or third time ever with the GTP cars. So it was like I was a bit unsure, like with the brakes, how to do this fighting, the dirt there and all that. But I think it came along really well, and I really enjoyed the races.
It was third and fourth for you this evening. You had great pace. Did you think maybe that was the most you could get out of tonight, or were you hoping for a win maybe if things went your way?
Now, of course, like with the reverse grid, it's really challenging to get up there. And especially in the first race, I was held up a bit on the first 2 laps, so then it was just no chance. And then in the second lap now, I think P2 was possible, but sadly I made a slight mistake in turn 5 on the last lap, which cost the run. But yeah, still P3 is a really good result, I think. So I'm happy.
And then this track, it's loved by some, it's hated by some. It's quite tight, it's quite narrow, it's short. What your thoughts on it? Do you like this sort of a racetrack?
Yeah, I absolutely love this track. It's where I've gotten all of my rating, and whenever there is official races or races like this at Road Atlanta, I'm for sure gonna sign up.
Ole, thank you very much for joining me. Greatly appreciated. I wish you the best of luck with whatever's next for Mr. Steinbraten, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
We will be hearing from Eduardo Leo now soon. Hopefully we can get him into the interview room and hear how his race went. But yes, it was a great result for Ole Steinbraten this evening. It was fourth and third, of course, for him, and a fabulous performance by the Team Redline Norwegian. But we move on, we move forth. We will now talk to a pole position man and a Heat 2 winner. Eduardo, congratulations this evening. That last race, you were on fire.
Yeah, good evening everyone. That was a pretty enjoyable race, I have to say. The format is really nice and it makes up for some very great battles. Had quite an interesting quali because I couldn't settle up until the very end of the session because I was struggling with some corners, as this car is quite difficult to drive, quite tricky on the curves. So I had a lot of lap invalidated, so had to set a pretty comfortable lap towards the end, but it was enough for
first race. It was it was very chaotic. What happened? Was it just wrong place, wrong time for you? A move down the inside didn't seem to go your way, but there was a lot of cars all off the circuit. How did you manage that chaos?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was unfortunate. That was just my mistake, as I didn't practice probably enough. I just went too deep into the corner, probably was too brave, and yeah, missed my braking point, and then had to fight all the way, like lost 10 seconds. So that wasn't a very optimal race 1, but then made it up for the mistake in race 2.
We saw your prestige then in heat number 2, of course. Last year you were crowned Italian iRacing prototype champion. I think it's safe to say you might like cars like these.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy quite a lot the cars that has a lot of downforce. That's why also I probably don't race a lot the GT3s, because I just enjoy cars that will go as fast as possible through corners. So yeah, I find myself pretty comfortable in these GTPs.
And then one final one. We don't see GTPs on a Sunday night here in AMX until the last week, Spa-Francorchamps GTPs. Will we be seeing you back to race again?
Yeah, I think so. Because, as I said, the format is really interesting. It is a nice way to spend my Sunday evening. So if I have some spare time in Sunday or Saturday, I will for sure come back, even if it's not GTPs.
Eduardo Leo, thank you very much for joining me. Greatly appreciated. Congratulations on a fantastic win.
Thank you, guys.
Well, it's great to hear from those two drivers. Entry of the track.
Well, it's been very two compelling races so far, and I love to see what they gave it away, and then we. So we're gonna have still our results coming up real shortly, but I love that we had these two races. Like I said before, race two, much cleaner, harder racing, of course, and just delivered everything that we wanted to see, like from a Road Atlanta race. It's, if you think about it, it's what Road Atlanta is, right? It gives close racing, never mind what kind of racing we do, sprint, endurance. There's always something happening around the track because of how short it is and how tightly packed you can remain following one car around the track like you can do Road Atlanta. So good to see that we had this close racing alongside everybody.
The next week, of course, if you're interested in what we up in AMX, remember, if you want to race in any of these races, amxrace.com. We have Renault Clio Cup at the Hockenheim Ring and TCRs at Hungaroring next Tuesday, Lorenzo. That's another two fun combinations, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is a combination that kind of fits me a little bit better. The Clio Cup with that short layout is going to provide some interesting racing in the aspect of, I'm not going to say touring car-esque because especially that short portion, the inside portion that leads into the arena, it makes racing more clustered and there's not a lot of space for overtaking, but it is going to be a very interesting aspect. Hungaroring, though, is going to be quite compelling because track positioning matters a lot, and if you're first place and you know how to drive a track like this that relies a little bit on not overtaking but giving dirty air to other people in clean air is life. Even in TCRs you're gonna get around just fine.
Yes, we have that fabulous combination coming up for you next week, but we had a great evening here on ACC and iRacing as per usual. We had a fabulous race around Bathurst earlier. You can go check out that one as well in your spare time. Of course, you've no races tomorrow on AMX, so that's what you can go back and rewatch and be back with us for Tuesday. But folks, we will be heading and checking out your full results for this evening. Let's see who your winner was for race 19. Well, it is going to be the man who took pole position and the race. Eduardo Leo will take a $70 prize pool here in race 19 of AMX 10, ahead of Petter Zuma in second and Ole Stein-Bratton in third. So we got 1 and 3 in the interview room. That's not a bad job. As Gael Valero, the championship leader, will take fourth. It'll be Simon de Mori in fifth, Boris Ovando in sixth, ahead of Victor Miranda in seventh, then Pedro Dean in eighth. Jackson Rasenje is tied for eighth as well, I should say, on $28, and then it is Fabio Zampellini just $1 behind in ninth. So Eduardo Leo, AMX 10 race 19 winner for this evening. Fabulous job by him, Lorenzo. He was top quality in that second race.
Yeah, 100%. Basically a masterclass of, anticipating overtakes, doing the overtakes at the right time. And when you find pockets of other people trying to, go around the track, even if they're fighting for position against them, it just makes clean work of breaking away and doing the overtakes and things like that, right? So that's why it's good to see Leo, a driver that we've seen him set, I think, whole times in special events. I'm trying to remember which special event they actually set up a pole. I want to say it might be Petit Le Mans. I cannot state with 100% certainty, but it's good to see that high class of racing that we've seen around the track still retains over here at AMX.
Well, folks, we would once again, final time, like you to check out all our social channels, which are at the bottom of our screen: Instagram, Twitch, X, Discord, YouTube, TikTok, and amxrace.com. It's where you can get all your AMX action when we are not live here on the YouTube channel, but that's a rare occasion. We'll be back 5:50 GMT next Tuesday. From Lorenzo alongside me and from myself, Evan Dalton, a big thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate all your support throughout this evening's action, and we hope to see you back on AMX very soon. Have a good evening, folks. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.
This timeless moment is so